Chapter 860. The last time I saw Sister Ur up close, I washed it 3 times after I went back. You piece of trash, I have a portrait of Sister Ur in my room, and I wash it 7 or 8 times a day. Damn, senior brother, can I borrow your portrait for a few days? Lin Yu's face twitched and he glanced at Qini. She obviously heard it too. The female king of Hell and Nangong Yu were also blushing. I didn't hear it. When Lin Yu looked at Yuja Kitami, she actually replied first. I didn't ask. Lin Yu casually echoed. Was this girl confessing without being pressed? When Baima Yu heard this, her beautiful face also turned red. In Lin Yu's heart, he felt that this woman's beauty was indeed not bad. Even compared to Qini, she was not much inferior. She was between Lin Yu's standard 8 to 9 points. They came to a hall in the Baimwa family. Yuja Kitami suddenly saw the fragrance of pills lingering. My brother Baimwa Yunlei is refining pills. Yuja Kitami changed her direction and descended. As guests, Lin Yu and the others could only follow behind her. They saw the hall below. A young man in his early 20s was refining pills with full concentration. The pills are about to be completed. Junior, your talent is not bad. Listen to this old man, and your future will be limitless. An old man at the side stroked his long beard and said with the look of an expert. Who is this guy? Lin Yu raised his eyebrows. Yuja Kitami immediately shushed him. He is Master Yen, the Pill King's disciple. Don't let him hear you. As soon as she finished speaking, a loud voice came from the front of the hall. Haha, my son Yunlei can be praised by Master Yen. He will definitely have a bright future. Yunlei quickly thanked Master Yen. The middle-aged man stepped down and admired Baimwa and Yunlei's alchemy. He hadn't seen Yuja Kitami and the others return yet. That's my father, the patriarch of the Baima clan, Baima Bing. Lin Yu nodded. He knew that the patriarch of such a clan was not the strongest existence. Bei Mobing was also an expert on the celestial god list, but his ranking would not be too high. The strongest in the 4 great clans were the patriarchs behind the patriarch. For example, old ancestor Nangong Yen, who fought with Lin Yu before. You have the help of a grandmaster, so why do you have to go through so much trouble to get the pill recipe? Lin Yu asked curiously. Yuja Kitami snorted softly. I don't agree with that Grandmaster Yen. I always feel that there's something wrong with his alchemy method. I don't want to listen to him, and he doesn't like me either. Oh! Baima Yu briefly recounted what had happened. An 8th grade alchemy method, so he only performed what you thought was an 8th grade pill once, and after refining it, you think he's the real Elixir King's disciple? That's right. It's extremely difficult to refine an 8th grade pill. If he's not the Elixir King's disciple, who else can refine it? Lin Yu smiled. Are you sure he refined an 8th grade pill? There's no mistake. Yuja Kitami said confidently. When the 8th grade pill was formed, there were auspicious clouds surrounding it. We all saw it at that time. Also, there were 8 inscriptions on the pill, which is the symbol of an 8th grade pill. Alright. Lin Yu smiled, too lazy to explain further. However, he roughly knew where the problem was. The junior has talent, and there's hope in the future of alchemy. Grandmaster should be happy. Why do you look so worried? Bei Mobing immediately saw that Grandmaster Yan's expression was not right. Sigh, this old man is obsessed with the Tao of alchemy, and I like to teach the younger generation. Unfortunately, that genius of yours, Baima Yu, never understands this old man. She even likes to sing a different tune from this old man. Grandmaster Yen let out a long sigh. My sister doesn't know how to appreciate favors. Grandmaster, you don't need to pay attention to her. Bei Mobing Yunlei snorted and put away the pill. 4th grade golden pill, done. Bei Mobing Yunlei held the golden pill in his hand. The pill fragrance is everywhere. Not bad, not bad. Grandmaster Yen nodded in satisfaction and patted Bei Mobing Yunlei's shoulder, looking like a senior doting on a junior. If your sister was half as sensible as you, I would be willing to stay in the Bei Mobing family for a few more days. Grandmaster is leaving? Bei Mobing Yunlei's heart tightened, and Bei Mobing's expression also turned serious. The alchemy conference was approaching, and now that Elixir King's disciple had appeared in the Bei Mobing family, he could teach these juniors how to improve their alchemy skills. If they let him go now, wouldn't it be a huge loss for the Bei Mobing family? Your sister doesn't like me. She should be back soon. I'm not welcome, so why stay? Grandmaster Yen looked aggrieved, but he still had the appearance of a gentle Taoist. Bei Mobing Yunlei clenched his teeth. Since young, his talent had been inferior to Yuja Kitami's, and he had been suppressed by her in every way. This time, a grandmaster finally appreciated him, so he couldn't let Yuja Kitami ruin it. Father, say something. Bei Mobing Yunlei pleaded with Bei Mobing. Grandmaster, why don't you stay for a few more days? I will properly educate you. Bei Mobing immediately came out to smooth things over. Grandmaster Yen seemed unwilling to give up, hoping that Bei Mobing would do something substantial. You father and daughter have a deep relationship, so there's no need to hurt your relationship for me. I'd better leave. This Grandmaster, please stay. Bei Mobing clenched his teeth. Don't worry, Grandmaster. When Yua returns, I will immediately scold her and ask her not to talk back to Grandmaster. Grandmaster Yen knew that the time was right and he smiled helplessly. Since Patriarch Bei Mobing is so sincere, I'll stay for a few more days. Only then did Bei Mobing and Bei Mobing Yunlei breathe a sigh of relief. It's all sister's fault. Bei Mobing Yunlei muttered inwardly. He actually saw Yuja Kitami and the others who had just landed. Big sister is back. Father, hurry up and scold her. Bei Mobing Yunlei reminded him. Bei Mobing also saw Yuja Kitami. Do we have guests? Bei Mobing's gaze landed on Lin Yu and the others. I've never seen these people before. Could they be the helpers you were invited? Father, what helpers could she possibly invite? Big sister has always been in seclusion at home and doesn't even have many friends. Are you counting on her? Before he could finish speaking, Yuja Kitami arrived in front of the two of them and cupped her fists at Bei Mobing. Father, I'm back. It's good that you're back. What about the pill manual? I brought it back. Yuja Kitami's storage ring glowed, and a pill manual appeared in her hand. This is the manual for the reverse marrow reincarnation pill. Very good, very good. Then go back and study it well. Strive to get a good ranking in the Grand Alchemy Conference, Bei Mobing Yunlei instructed. In his heart, he still felt that Yuja Kitami's Pill Dao had a chance of winning this Grand Alchemy Conference. As for Grandmaster Yen, even if he was willing to teach Bei Mobing Yunlei's current progress was probably not enough to catch up to Yuja Kitami. Chapter 861. Father, I would like to introduce you to a few friends. Yuja Kitami pointed to Lin Yu and introduced Lin Yu to Bei Mobing. Low-profile sect, I have never heard of it. Bei Moi Yunlei whispered. Although Lin Yu didn't like it, this was their nest and there was no need to argue with a fool. But Lin Yuan and Lin Xiu were not easy to deal with and were staring at Bei Mobing at this moment. What, I said you guys can't do it? Bei Mobing was scared by their stares. Enough, they are my friends. Yuja Kitami naturally heard Bei Mobing's muttering at the beginning and apologized to Lin Yu apologetically. At the same time, she took Lin Yu to the guest hall of the Bei Mobing family. Bei Mobing watched his daughter leave, but at this time, Master Yen coughed. Father, you forgot what you promised Master Yen. Bei Mobing immediately came back to his senses. Just now, Bei Mobing said that if Yuja Kitami came back, he would scold her. Bei Mobing was a little embarrassed. Since the patriarch can't make a decision, this old man will take his leave. Master Yen cupped his fists and was about to leave when he was stopped by Bei Mobing. Father, say something. Damn it. Bei Mobing looked embarrassed and had to stop Yuja Kitami. Master Yen is a respected alchemy senior. Since you are back, you should say hello to him. Yuja Kitami stopped and frowned. Master Yen and I don't agree on alchemy. As the saying goes, people of different paths can't make plans together. What is there to say hello to? Let brother fight. After speaking, she was about to leave. Preposterous, preposterous. Master Yen stomped his feet in anger. This old man is a disciple of Senior Pill King and thought that it was difficult to find an opponent in this primitive continent. I didn't expect to meet a stinky girl like you. Who are you calling a stinky girl? Yuja Kitami stared at Master Yen. Grandmaster Yan's cultivation was inferior to Yuja Kitami's, and he immediately cupped his fists towards Bei Mobing. Your daughter still wants to hit me. Clan head Bei Mobing, let's part ways here. Farewell. Master, please wait. I can't live without you. Bei Moi and Yun Lei had been instructed by Grandmaster Yen during this period of time. They believed that they had already reached an unprecedented realm of alchemy. If his mentor left now, how could he surpass Yuja Kitami in the future? Say, your elder sister doesn't have the slightest bit of respect for me, a senior in alchemy. She didn't even let me take a look at the reverse marrow reincarnation pill that she brought back. Grandmaster Yen said again. Immediately, Bei Moi Yun Lei understood the meaning behind her words. Sister, why don't you take out the pill recipe and show it to Grandmaster Yen? Why? Yuja Kitami frowned. Why should she show her things to others? Grandmaster Yen continued to shake his head with a helpless expression. At the same time, he gave Bei Moi Yun Lei a look. Seeing this, Bei Moi Yun Lei said to Bei Mobing, Father, Grandmaster Yen is an alchemy master. The reverse marrow reincarnation pill is our hope in attending the alchemy conference this time. If we let elder sister study it alone, it's inevitable that there will be mistakes. Why don't we let elder sister take out the pill recipe and study it together? This is the Bei Moi family, our territory. We're all on the same side. Don't you think so? Bei Moi Yun Lei's words were somewhat reasonable, but he didn't care about Yuja Kitami's interests. She had taken the pill recipe for the reverse marrow reincarnation pill herself. As for being ambushed by Taoist Grand Supreme on the way, she hadn't mentioned it yet, nor did she bother to mention it. Only she knew how dangerous it was. Why should she take it out and share it with others now? Lin Yu didn't say anything. After all, they were outsiders here. Wait and see. Bei Mobing looked troubled, but in the end, he was moved by Bei Moi Yun Lei. Yun Lei is right. Take out the pill recipe and let everyone study it together. If you go back and study it alone, even I won't know if you make a mistake. Father. Yuja Kitami's expression was ugly, but Bei Mobing seemed to have made up his mind. Say no more. Take out the pill recipe. The alchemy conference concerns the future of the Bei Moi family. Don't mess around. Seeing this, Yuja Kitami had already given in. Under Bei Mobing's tough attitude, Yuja Kitami could only take out the pill recipe. Bei Moi Yun Lei stepped forward to take it and immediately handed it to Grandmaster Yen. Grandmaster Yen looked gentle, but a cold glint flashed in his old eyes. He glanced coldly at Yuja Kitami. That's right, that's right. It's the pill recipe for the reverse marrow reincarnation pill. Grandmaster Yen nodded. Yuja Kitami was so angry that she couldn't speak. Behind him, Lin Yu just smiled gently and confirmed one thing. The Bei Moi family, or Bei Mobing, still favored boys over girls. Even though Yuja Kitami's talent seemed much higher than Bei Moi Yun Lei's. However, Bei Mobing still indulged Bei Moi Yun Lei a little more. If not for this, Yuja Kitami's current progress wouldn't lose to Nangong Tian's at his peak. What a pity. I still need some time to study this pill recipe. I'll tell you in detail in a few hours. Grandmaster Yen said again, and put away the pill recipe in front of Yuja Kitami. No. Yuja Kitami said angrily. You can take a look, but you can't take it away. Grandmaster Yen snorted. There are some problems with some of the herbs here. Since I've decided to help the Beimwa family, I naturally have to study them thoroughly. Otherwise, how can I teach you alchemy? Grandmaster is right. Beimwa Yunlei also chimed in. Seeing this, Bei Mobing couldn't say anything. After all, he wasn't good at alchemy. The only person here who knew alchemy was Yuja Kitami. As for Beimwa Yunlei, his youngest son, he only knew half of it. Don't worry, I'll study it carefully after I take it back. 4 hours later, I'll be able to answer your questions and help the Beimwa family win the championship in this alchemy conference. Grandmaster Yen gave everyone another shot of confidence. Hearing this, Bei Mobing and Beimwa Yunlei were very supportive, and Yuja Kitami seemed to have no reason to refuse. The other party agreed to help them win the championship in this alchemy conference, which was the best result for the Beimwa family. Grandmaster Yen smiled faintly. Knowing that these people wouldn't object, he immediately turned and went back to his residence. Wait! Suddenly, a voice stopped Grandmaster Yen. Everyone looked over. The person who spoke was Lin Yu. Junior, the alchemy conference is about to start, and I don't have much time left. What's the matter? Who dares to stop Grandmaster Yen? Grandmaster Yen, ignore him. Beimwa Yunlei said impatiently. The person brought back by Yuja Kitami dared to ask Grandmaster Yen to stop. Was he courting death? Chapter 862. Since you're the Elixir King's disciple, what's the point of taking back the recipe of the reverse marrow reincarnation elixir? Why don't you demonstrate it here? Lin Yu ignored Beimwa and Yunlei's ridicule. Instead, his eyes met Master Yan's. In the 100,000 years that he was trapped, he had been a liar too many times and fooled too many people. This guy. How dare he show off in front of an expert? What the hell? What a joke. What does an unknown junior know about alchemy? Master Yen was obviously angry. How could he order him to refine the elixir on the spot? Although I'm not as good as you, I know a little about the alchemy conference. The reverse marrow reincarnation elixir is only a 7th grade elixir. I heard that when you came here, you demonstrated the method of refining an 8th grade elixir. I think refining a 7th grade elixir is easier for you? Lin Yu said unhurriedly. Although there was a strong logic in his words, he did not make any rude requests. But in the eyes of Yuja Kitami and the others, it was a bit provocative. What do you want? He can be the Elixir King's disciple. Yuja Kitami stood beside Lin Yu and gently pulled his sleeve, indicating that Lin Yu couldn't offend Master Yen. Sister, look after your man. Beimwa Yunlei couldn't help but remind Yuja Kitami. Master Yen was so angry that his face turned red. What a joke. Every alchemist has a unique method of refining elixirs. This is the foundation of their pride in the world. How can they show it in front of others? Junior, if you want to learn from me secretly, you've found the wrong person. Lin Yu shrugged. I don't need to learn from you secretly. You, how dare you? The path of alchemy is ever-changing. From the herbs to the method of refining elixirs, to the order of adding the herbs, the temperature, the difference of the fire seed, the changes of the furnace, the thickness, and the material. It can be said that refining elixirs is about the meaning and not the form. If it's only about the form, how many of these changes can be learned? And if you value your thoughts, why would Master Yen be afraid of being seen by others? If the process of refining pills can be seen by others, then wouldn't there be a few more top-notch alchemists in the alchemy convention every year? Grandmaster Yen, am I right? Lin Yu's every word seemed to have directly struck Master Yan's heart. The other party took a few steps back. Arrogant. You actually dare to discuss alchemy with Grandmaster Yen? Who do you think you are? Baimwa and Yunlei were furious. Grandmaster Yen had been his mentor for the past few days, and Lin Yu was someone Yuja Kitami had invited. Why was it not enough for him to be suppressed by Yuja Kitami? Even his teacher was being suppressed by Yuja Kitami's people? He refused to accept this. Lin Yu, stop talking. Yuja Kitami was so frightened that she moved closer to Lin Yu in a low voice. If you anger him, we'll be in trouble when father blames us. She was mainly afraid that under Bei Mobing's pressure, the Baimwa family would start to ostracize Lin Yu. Then Yuja Kitami would lose a few helpers this time. At the same time, she owed Lin Yu a life-saving grace, but she couldn't repay it. Yuja Kitami wasn't an ungrateful person. It's fine. Lin Yu patted Yuja Kitami's hand. The first physical contact between the two instantly caused Yuja Kitami's fingers to feel as if they had been electrocuted. This man's hand was so comfortable. It was slender and gentle, but there was a hidden strength at the fingertips and joint. What am I thinking? Yuja Kitami's pretty face reddened. Was she crazy? He's indeed a little arrogant. Bei Mobing looked a little troubled as he looked at Yuja Kitami. Although he's your guest, you still have to discipline him. Daughter knows her mistake. Yuja Kitami wanted to keep the peace, so she pulled Lin Yu away. But the latter didn't move. Mainly, Lin Yu wanted to use this opportunity to display his strength. He had his own goals among the four great families. That was to use the Baimwa family to find the great solar Buddha's trail. But with the four great families' character, they wouldn't help you if you didn't display your strength. So what Lin Yu wanted to do was to quickly gain the Baimwa family's trust without exposing his identity. And this Pill King's disciple was the best stepping stone. It was fine if the other party was hiding his wealth and keeping it a secret. But Great Master Yen stepped on his face and took away Yuja Kitami's pill recipe. This was looking down on them behind Yuja Kitami. If Great Master is worried about others seeing your pill refining skills, how about this? Lin Yu's lips curled up, and he said something that shocked everyone again. Let's refine the reverse marrow reincarnation pill together and see who can refine it better. When he said this, even Yuja Kitami's hand that was grabbing Lin Yu's sleeve froze in shock. Refine pills together? Was he challenging the Pill King's disciple, Great Master Yen? Arrogant, who do you think you are to compete with me? Great Master Yen was furious, and he immediately rejected Lin Yu's request. I'm the Pill King's disciple. What right do you have to compete with me? That's right, father. I think the person Big Sister brought back is deliberately making things difficult for me and Great Master Yen. Say something. Baimwa Yunlei almost started a fight with Lin Yu. If it weren't for Yuja Kitami's dignity, Baimwa Yunlei would have found someone to take down Lin Yu. Lin Yu obviously saw Great Master Yan's guilty conscience at this moment. He took a step forward and waved his hand, suddenly releasing a domineering aura. It was a kind of steadiness and confidence. It was as if everyone could only believe in his confidence. Because I'm the Pill King's disciple. When he said this, everyone was shocked again. Even Qinyi, who was behind Lin Yu, felt her heart tighten. They came from the Sky Desert universe with Lin Yu, and they didn't even know who the Pill King was. Naturally, they knew that Lin Yu was now. He was bragging. However, Lin Yu's words were full of confidence and sincerity. It was as if he was the Pill King's disciple. You, how dare you? How can you be my master's disciple at your age? Great Master Yen was so angry that his face turned pale, but under Lin Yu's aura, his heart began to tremble. Why was this kid's aura so strong? Baimwa Yunlei wanted to say something, but Lin Yu's eyes fell on him first. It's none of your business. You'd better shut up. Immediately, he looked at Great Master Yen. This is a battle of honor for the Pill King sect, and it concerns my master's reputation. I won't allow anyone to use my master's name to swindle outside, Great Master Yen. Lin Yu took a step forward, and his aura was strong, and his voice was like muffled thunder. Whether it's true or not, we'll know after a fight. Chapter 863. The atmosphere became much heavier. Who would have thought that Yuja Kitami would suddenly bring back a person who did not seem to have any cultivation, but his words were shocking. The moment he spoke, he directly challenged Master Yen. And he was the Elixir King's disciple? At this moment, even Bei Mobing did not dare to speak carelessly. At first, he definitely did not believe Lin Yu's words. After all, the Elixir King was the legendary king of alchemy in the primitive continent. And Master Yan's age was closer to the Elixir King's disciple. This was something that made sense. But in reality, not many people in the primitive continent knew the identity of the Elixir King's disciple, so how old should the disciple be? What should he look like? These things were up for debate. Therefore, Bei Mobing did not dare to speak carelessly. It was up to Master Yen to respond. Yuja Kitami was also frightened by Lin Yu's aura. At this moment, she suddenly thought that Lin Yu might really be the Elixir King's disciple. Impossible. How old is he? He looks even younger than my younger brother. Master Yen, are you afraid? If you are, kneel down and apologize immediately. Otherwise, don't blame me for killing you in the name of my master's reputation. Lin Yu's gaze instantly became much sharper, scaring Master Yen so much that he felt a chill run down his spine. Why was this kid's gaze so terrifying? In an instant, Master Yen suddenly had a feeling that Lin Yu had killed before, and he had killed many people. I won't compete with you. Master Yen clenched his teeth and stepped into the air in the blink of an eye. His cultivation was not high, merely an equalization realm martial artist. At this moment, he was flying out of the Bei Mobing residence at full speed. Seeing him flee in defeat, everyone already had a judgment in their hearts. Want to leave? Lin Yu's fingers formed a claw, and he slightly executed devouring stars. A suction force directly swept Master Yen back, and he landed on the ground. Smack! Master Yen fell to the ground. This kid has cultivation, and it's not low? Bei Mobing narrowed his eyes. He could not see Lin Yu's cultivation, but what Lin Yu just displayed was an extremely powerful cultivation technique. This Qin Wunyan is rather interesting. Bei Mobing nodded in appreciation, while Grandmaster Yen glared at him with an aggrieved expression. You, Patriarch Bei Mobing, this person is acting violently in your Bei Mobing clan. Don't you care? Lin Yu looked at Bei Mobing. Before the other party could speak, he gave Bei Mobing a choice. Patriarch Bei Moi, we'll know who's right and who's wrong once we compete in alchemy. Or do you want to continue being muddle-headed? Lin Yu didn't give Bei Mobing any face at all. He didn't even need to respect this clan leader Bei Mobing. Impudent! How dare you be rude to my father? Bei Moyunlei was just about to lash out at Lin Yu when Bei Mobing pulled him back. Unfilial son, back down. Father, Bei Moyunlei was startled. Why did his father's attitude suddenly change? He did not know that Bei Mobing had already determined that Lin Yu was the true successor of the Elixir Monarch. Only the successor of the Elixir Monarch would have such boldness. He didn't need to respect the clan leaders of the 4 major families at all. Even if the Patriarch came, they could treat him as an equal because he was the Elixir Monarch's disciple. Therefore, there was nothing wrong with Lin Yu's words. Bei Mobing thought this through. How could he allow others to be rude to Lin Yu? The young man in front of him might really be the successor of the Elixir Monarch. As for Master Yen, he didn't dare to accept the challenge after such a long time. In Bei Mobing's heart, he was already suspicious of him. Sir is right. We'll know who's the real one and who's the fake one after we compete in alchemy. Bei Mobing cupped his fists at Lin Yu. The moment he said that, Master Yan's heart skipped a beat. How can I casually reveal the true teachings of the elixir monarch? Master Yan's face flushed red. But just as he was about to speak, Lin Yu appeared in front of him and slapped him. Slap. The sound of the slap resounded through the entire place. Everyone was stunned on the spot. Why did he hit someone? How dare you hurt Master Yan? Bei Mobing Yunlei jumped up and charged at Lin Yu, but Bei Mobing pressed him down and smashed him to the ground. Unfilial son, calm down. Bei Mobing's breathing quickened. He couldn't be bothered to watch Bei Mobing Yunlei go crazy. Instead, his gaze landed on Lin Yu and Master Yan. This lad is very daring. If my son was so bold, I wouldn't have to worry about being mocked by those bastards from the 3 clans and being scolded by the Patriarch every day. Patriarch Bei Mobing, are you not going to care about this matter? Master Yan kept retreating, wanting to ask Bei Mobing for help. However, Bei Mobing's attitude was already very clear. Master Yan, this is a competition between the successors of the elixir monarch. How can I care? Master Yan was slapped once again. He had some cultivation, but he didn't understand why he couldn't dodge a few casual slaps from Lin Yu, who looked like an ordinary person. Do you want to compete or not? Lin Yu asked as he slapped him. No. Do you want to compete or not? No. Master Yan knelt down and begged for mercy. I was wrong. I'm not the elixir monarch's disciple. I'm not. There was dead silence. After a long time, Yuja Kitami recovered from the series of events. Then how did you refine an 8th grade pill? Master Yan still wanted to hide it, but Lin Yu had already raised his hand. Don't hit me. I said, that's not an 8th grade pill. That's a 1st grade fantasy pill. What's a fantasy pill? Yuja Kitami didn't understand. There were thousands of pills in the world, and she hadn't reached the point where she could recognize all of them. When they're all refined, there will be a strange phenomenon. For example, the 8th grade pill phenomenon you mentioned. There's also a fantasy pill. Because it doesn't need to be consumed, it doesn't have any medicinal effect. It's only used for performance. The person who spoke wasn't Master Yan, but Lin Yu. There's no need to worry about the fantasy pill's medicinal effect being destroyed, so the 8 inscriptions on it are probably directly engraved. Yuja Kitami suddenly understood. Not only her, but even Bei Mobing and Bei Moyun also understood at this moment. It turned out that they had been fooled by an unknown pill. You already knew that it was a fantasy pill? Yuja Kitami looked at Lin Yu in shock. Even she couldn't tell, so how did Lin Yu know? Not only that, Yuja Kitami had seen Master Yan refine pills with her own eyes, but she couldn't see any clues. It could be seen that Master Yan's technique was very high, and that fantasy pill was special. However, Lin Yu could actually expose the other party's trick just by hearing rumors? Didn't that mean that Lin Yu's alchemy skills were much higher than hers? I guessed. Lin Yu said casually, but how could Yuja Kitami believe him? At this moment, she had a feeling of worship for Lin Yu. Yuja Kitami had a feeling of worship for people who were better at alchemy than her. Only Master Yan made her feel awkward. Now Yuja Kitami knew the reason. He was simply a liar. Chapter 864. It was just a mirage pill. But he had freeloaded in the Beima family for so long, and even tricked the Patriarch and the 2 young patriarchs. He wanted this place. Bei Mobing's face was already red with anger, and he grabbed Master Yan. Bastard, who sent you to swindle us? Tell me, and I'll leave your corpse intact. Bei Mobing snorted angrily. Otherwise, I'll make sure you die without a corpse intact. This was the mindset of the 4 great families. When Grandmaster Yan was useful, even as the clan leader, Bei Mobing was very respectful to him. But now that Master Yan admitted he was a swindler, Bei Mobing could kill him at any time. Patriarch, spare me, spare me. Master Yan's entire body trembled as he was thrown to the ground by Bei Mobing. Speak. It's a mysterious person who bribed this lowly one. He gave this lowly one 10 million dazzling bot, and also gave me the method to refine mirage pills. He told me that with this method, I could do whatever I wanted in the Baima family. Master Yen was so frightened that he confessed the entire matter. The more Bei Mobing listened, the angrier he became. Bastard, bastard, who is that person? Dazzling Qi exploded, and Bei Mobing's cultivation was released due to his anger, hitting Master Yen. Master Yen directly spat out a mouthful of blood. I don't know. Master Yen rolled and crawled on the ground, begging for mercy and kowtowing. I don't know, that person was masked, and this lowly one couldn't see his face at all. If you hide anything, I'll make you beg for death. Bei Mobing's thunder descended, and Master Yan's head was already bleeding. I really don't know, Yunlei, save me, you said I was your master. At this moment, how could Bei Mobing dare to say a word? He had already hidden himself to the side. At the beginning, he had met Master Yen outside, and brought him back to the Baima family. What happened after was as Master Yen said. He successfully used the Mirage Pill to become the Pill King's disciple, and became the Baima family's guest of honor. He was even Bei Mobing Yunlei's Pill Dao teacher. What else did the person who bribed you say? Lin Yu's voice suddenly sounded. He knew that if he didn't ask, Bei Mobing would probably kill Master Yen. At that time, a dead person would be useless. Master Yan's gaze landed on Lin Yu. He was already filled with regret. When this kid first appeared, Master Yen didn't take him to heart at all. But because of him, his originally flawless deception was seen through just like that. Master Yen hated Lin Yu to no end, but Bei Mobing could tell that Master Yen was still hiding something. Didn't you hear Sir's question? To Bei Mobing, Lin Yu had already replaced Great Master Yen. Even though Bei Mobing didn't know if Lin Yu was really the Elixir King's disciple, the other party's ability was indeed not low. At the very least, in terms of eyesight, he was better than him. That person wanted this lowly one to sow discord between Miss Ur and Patriarch Bei Mo. Grandmaster Yen glanced at Bei Moi Yunlei out of the corner of his eye. That person said that young Master Yunlei is shallow and easily incited. As long as I gain his trust and instigate him, young Master Yunlei will make things difficult for Miss Ur. At that time, the relationship between the Patriarch's family will deteriorate, and my mission will be accomplished. Is there anything else? Bei Mobing's cold voice rang out. No, I've told you everything. Patriarch, please let me go. This lowly one knows his mistake. Before Grandmaster Yen could finish speaking, Bei Mobing's palm had already smashed his head to death. Bei Mobing stood with his hands behind his back. He didn't even look at Grandmaster Yen as he instructed. Drag him away and feed him to the dogs. Don't spread this person's matter. Lin Yu knew that Bei Mobing was telling him this. After all, so many people in the Bei Mo family had been deceived. If word got out, it would be a great humiliation to the 4 great families who valued their reputation. Father, I'll take young Master Qin and the others to settle down first. Yuja Kitami had found the recipe for the reverse chakra marrow pill from Grandmaster Yan's corpse. Go. Bei Mobing nodded and cupped his fists at Lin Yu. Thank you for today's matter, sir. If not for Sir's help, I'm afraid we would still be in the dark. Sir, feel free to tell me what reward you want. This old man will definitely satisfy it. It's no trouble at all. This matter is over. Patriarch Bei Mobing, there's no need to say more. Lin Yu smiled casually and didn't ask for credit. He didn't even give Bei Mobing a chance to speak before he turned around and gestured for Yuja Kitami to lead the way. After everyone left, Bei Mobing narrowed his eyes, his face full of emotion. This Qin Wunyan is reserved and not greedy for credit. If he had made the request just now, this old man would have underestimated him. But Lin Yu didn't make the request and saved the Bei Mobing family's face. This made Bei Mobing have a good impression of him. Father, then Bei Mobing asked cautiously. Kneel. Bei Mobing waved his hand and left, too lazy to look at Bei Mobing Yunlei. His eyes were cold. Who is this person who concealed his identity and harmed the Bei Mo family? Bei Mobing Yunlei knelt on the ground and looked at Grandmaster Yan's corpse. Damn it, Yuja Kitami, it's you again. He didn't believe that he couldn't beat Yuja Kitami in this lifetime. Grandmaster Yan's appearance had given him hope, but now this hope had been destroyed by Yuja Kitami and his people again. How could Bei Mobing Yunlei not hate him? He clenched his fists tightly and remembered the person Yuja Kitami brought back. Qin Wunyan, very good, I'll remember you. Outside the wing of the Bei Mobing family's guest hall. I'll have to trouble young master to stay here for the time being. I'll arrange a better place later. Yuja Kitami said in a low voice. No need, this place is fine. Looking at the quiet and secluded environment, it was simple but not shabby. It was enough for them to stay for a while. Besides, Lin Yu knew that they had come in disguise. It was better to keep a low profile. Yuja Kitami nodded lightly and said, Young Master Qin, with young Master Qin's understanding of the four major families, do you know who sent the mysterious person mentioned by Grandmaster Yan today? Miss Yu should have guessed a little? Lin Yu smiled. Yuja Kitami didn't hide it. She was more intelligent than others, but she also knew that Lin Yu was a smart person like her. There was no need to beat around the bush in a conversation between smart people. That would only make the other party loathe them. Yu has guessed a little. Since Grandmaster Yan came in disguise as the Pill King's disciple, then I think his goal is to affect my Bei Mobing family's performance at the Grand Alchemy Conference. Yuja Kitami spoke truthfully of her thoughts. After Grandmaster Yan came to the Bei Mobing family, he did try to sow discord between me and my younger brother several times. At the same time, he also praised my younger brother's talent in alchemy. So much so that recently, Father already had the intention of letting Yunlei replace me at the Grand Alchemy Conference. Fortunately, young Master Qin intervened. Otherwise, I'm afraid I really would have been replaced after Grandmaster Yan took the recipe for the reverse marrow reincarnation pill. Lin Yu casually sat down at the table. This matter is simple. I've already guessed a little about the background of the person behind the scenes. Chapter 865. After listening, Beima Yuer's eyes lit up. Young master, please speak your mind. Lin Yu gave her a look, and Yuja Kitami immediately closed the door. But at the same time, she glanced at Qin Yi and the others warily. It's okay. They are my people. They won't tell anyone. Lin Yu defended his people, and Yuja Kitami did not say anything. Lin Yu continued, Miss Yu is right. The other party is trying to affect your attendance at the alchemy conference. I agree with you on this point. Since the other party is targeting the Beima family, which is one of the four major families. So the person behind this can only be someone from the other three clans or the 5 regions. Hearing that Lin Yu suspected the 5 regions, Bai Jiu from the demon region was nervous, but he did not say anything. He believed in Lin Yu's judgment. He would not accuse them wrongly. People from the 5 regions do not know much about the 4 major families. Do you remember that Master Yan said that he first gained the trust of Beima and Yunlei before coming in to swindle people? So the person behind this must know the Beima family very well. So the possibility of it being someone from the other 3 clans is higher than that of the 5 regions. Lin Yu's judgment was reasonable, and Yuja Kitami could only nod in agreement. Among the 3 clans, the Dongwang family and the Dongwang family are the best at alchemy, especially the Dongwang Holy Emperor and the Nangong family. It seems that Nangong Tian will also participate. Lin Yu nodded and continued, the 3 major families are all suspicious. This time, the Nangong family is the most eager to win. I think that Nangong Tian's injuries have not recovered after the battle at the Sequencer City. He needs the Tower of Pills to figure out a new treatment method. So the Nangong family must hope that Nangong Tian will win. As for the Dongwang family, they've always won in previous alchemy conferences, so they're less suspicious. That's because they've won in the past, so there's no need to pay special attention to this one. There's also the Shiming clan. They seem to be the most low-key of the four great clans, but I don't know much about them, so it's hard to judge. The chances of the Shiming clan being the mastermind are between the Dongwang family and the Nangong family. Nangong, Shiming, Dongwang. Who exactly is Master Yan's subordinate? This matter still needs to be investigated. When Lin Yu's voice fell, Yuja Kitami couldn't help but clap her hands. Although Lin Yu didn't specify which family he was referring to, Yuja Kitami already had an idea. There was a high chance that she was from the Nangong family. Moreover, when Nangong Tian was at his peak, the people of Nangong family had already shown their arrogance. Now, Nangong Tian had declined after being injured by Lin Yu. However, for the sake of the family's glory, Nangong Tian might have secretly sent someone. Listening to your words is better than studying for 10 years. You're probably the most meticulous person I've ever met. Yuja Kitami gave Lin Yu an extremely high evaluation. If other people from the Beima family were here, they would definitely be very shocked. Because to them, Beima Yu was a proud daughter of heaven who was high above others and would rarely praise others. There weren't many people who could catch Yuja Kitami's attention. However, in front of Lin Yu, Yuja Kitami had to praise him several times. Now, you can talk about the alchemy conference, Lin Yu reminded her. Yuja Kitami didn't hesitate. The participants of the alchemy conference are from the 4 great clans and the 5 regions. The 4 great clans and the 5 regions will each choose a representative. Although it's called a representative, it's more accurate to say that you can find helpers. But in the end, you can only concoct one pill. The alchemy conference is split into 2 parts. The first part is to collect herbs, and the second part is to refine pills. Lin Yu raised his eyebrows. This was rather interesting. We can't bring herbs to the conference, so we have to collect them ourselves? That's right. You're indeed smart. Yuja Kitami nodded and smiled. The alchemy conference is held in a mystic realm called the Elixir King Forest. It was left behind by the Elixir King back then. You can find most herbs for pills below grade 9 in the Elixir King Forest. Therefore, we have to find herbs in the Elixir King Forest for the first round. Lin Yu touched his chin. I think it's not that easy to collect herbs. If all the participants are free in the Elixir King Forest, I'm afraid there will be some fierce fights. That's right. Yuja Kitami increasingly felt that Lin Yu was amazing. Young Master Qin, this is the reason why we participants need to find helpers. So the helpers you're looking for aren't to refine pills, but to be guardians in the first round. Lin Yu smiled. Yuja Kitami was a bit embarrassed. They can also help refine pills. Moreover, I already know that young Master's alchemy skills are amazing. Oh! Although Grandmaster Yen doesn't have real skills, he still has some knowledge of alchemy. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to fool us for so long with just a mirage pill. However, young Master's words left Grandmaster Yen unable to refute. Lin Yu blinked. You're comparing me to Grandmaster Yen. Are you sure I'll be happy? Yuja Kitami's heart tightened. She bowed and said, Young Master, you're mistaken. I was just making an example, it's fine. Continue. Yuja Kitami nodded. In the second round, the 9 participants will start at the same time. The alchemy grandmasters of the 4 great families, as well as the alchemy grandmasters of the Elixir King Tower and Elixir King Temple, will evaluate and choose the winner. The winner will be able to obtain the Alchemy Conference's reward and enter the Elixir King Tower. Yuja Kitami's bright eyes revealed a yearning and longing. It's said that the Elixir King Tower contains the alchemy insights left behind by Lord Elixir King and the Vairocana Buddha. Chapter 866. The Insights Left Behind by the Great Sun Boundless Buddha? Lin Yu raised his eyebrows in confusion. Yuja Kitami seemed to have read his mind and explained, the Elixir King was the disciple of the Great Sun Boundless Buddha and he has already passed away. However, legend has it that the Elixir King's Tao of alchemy has already surpassed that of the Great Sun Boundless Buddha. Therefore, even though the Elixir King Pagoda contains the insights left behind by the Great Sun Boundless Buddha, in the eyes of the world, the pagoda is still named after the Elixir King. I see. Lin Yu roughly understood what she meant. Now, everyone should have started refining pills. After getting the elixir recipe, I will also start refining pills. Before the alchemy conference begins, let's try a few more times. Yuja Kitami bowed and cupped her fists. She bade farewell to Lin Yu. At the same time, she took out the reverse marrow reincarnation elixir. This is another elixir recipe that I copied down. If young Master Qin needs it, you can also study it with me. Obviously, Yuja Kitami didn't just treat Lin Yu as the Tao protector for the first round of gathering herbs. She hoped that Lin Yu would also participate in the second round of refining pills. Lin Yu nodded and smiled as he looked at the reverse marrow reincarnation elixir. He roughly understood the crux of the entire refining process. It was similar to the refining method of the Sky Desert universe, and it was also simpler here. It seemed that although the cultivation system of the Sky Desert universe was different from that of this world, the final result of refining pills was the same even in different universes and worlds. In other words, Lin Yu's attainments in refining pills could still be used in this world. These are the key points, Lin Yu said casually. Yuja Kitami originally wanted to leave and focus on studying the reverse marrow reincarnation elixir. However, after hearing Lin Yu's words, she sat down subconsciously. This was because she had a woman's intuition that a simple conversation with Lin Yu might be more effective than studying hard on her own. Here, and here. Lin Yu pointed and explained what to pay attention to in each of these places. The more Yuja Kitami listened, the more shocked she became. That's right. It's very easy to make mistakes in these areas. If not for young Master Qin's reminder, I might have failed in these areas when refining pills. Yuja Kitami was overjoyed. She grabbed onto Lin Yu's shoulder and said excitedly, "Young Master Qin's alchemy skills are the best I've ever seen. Could it be that you really are the Dan King's disciple?" No. Lin Yu had no intention of deceiving him, nor was there a need for him to do so. Why don't you give it a try? Didn't you say you were going into seclusion? Lin Yu was so honest. Yuja Kitami looked a little disappointed. It would be great if Lin Yu was the Dan King's disciple. Yuja Kitami was very interested in alchemy. Her biggest dream was to meet a confidant who was familiar with alchemy and reach the peak of alchemy with her. I'm not going into seclusion. Yuja Kitami snorted. Lin Yu didn't understand. The others also felt it was strange. Yuja Kitami waved her hand and asked the servants of the Beima clan to come up and tidy up a room in the courtyard next door. From today onwards, I'll live next door to you. Yuja Kitami smiled at Lin Yu. Before the Grand Alchemy Conference begins, I hope young Master Qin can refine pills with me. She firmly believed that with Lin Yu's help, she could quickly refine a reverse marrow reincarnation pill that was above the 6-vein grade. In this regard, Lin Yu could only smile non-committally. This was the Beima clan. How could he control where Yuja Kitami wanted to live? Fine. Since Beima was so ambitious, he could teach him. After all, if she won in the Grand Alchemy Conference, it would be good for Lin Yu. A few days later, Yuja Kitami began to wake up early and work late to study the reverse marrow reincarnation pill. When she encountered a problem, she would immediately ask Lin Yu for help. On one hand, Lin Yu was also teaching Yuja Kitami. On the other hand, he was consolidating his realm. At the same time, in order to let her break through to the 10,000 spirit realm, Lin Yu also refined a few pills. These pills were enough for her to break through her shackles. To this, the Queen of Hell was surprised and grateful to Lin Yu. Then, she went into seclusion. As for Qin Yi and the others, because they called Lin Yu brother and sister, they naturally became guests of the Beima clan. When Yuja Kitami pestered Lin Yu, Qin Yi could only cultivate alone. Not only her, but Nangong Yu was also the same. She couldn't get a word in on the way of alchemy. She could only become stronger silently, hoping that she would have a chance to help Lin Yu in the future. As for Lin Yuan, Lin Xiu, and Bai Jiu, they were also breaking through their cultivation as soon as possible. The 10,000 spirit realm was divided into 3 major realms. They were only in the first realm now, and the second realm required them to condense their own 10,000 spirit seal. The condensation of this 10,000 spirit seal required a large number of beasts to do experiment. Only a small number of beasts could be cultivated into the 10,000 spirit seal. They were also known as elite beasts. Elite beasts could be encountered but not sought. Even in the Beima clan, Yuja Kitami wanted to find a few elite beasts for them to cultivate, but she could only find 3. The grades of these 3 elite beasts weren't strong. After Lin Yuan and Lin Xiu tried to refine them, they still failed. The elite beasts died, and the 10,000 spirit seal was not refined successfully. It seems that we need stronger elite beasts. Yuja Kitami didn't have much time herself, so she could only let Lin Yuan and the others wait first. They first raised their realm to the peak of the first layer of the myriad spirit realm. When the time was right, they could find the best elite beasts and step into the second layer of the myriad spirit realm in one fell swoop. After 3 days of failed attempts, Yuja Kitami also began to refine the 12th reverse marrow reincarnation pill. If it weren't for young Master Qin, I'm afraid it would take more than a month. This was Beima Yuer's first time refining the reverse marrow reincarnation elixir. She had thought that it would be a simple elixir. However, the more she studied it, the more she understood that this kind of grade 7 elixir was beyond her expectations. Now, Yuja Kitami was about to refine the first successful reverse marrow reincarnation pill. 70%, 80%, 90%. The flames in the pill furnace were rolling. Yuja Kitami's pretty face was full of fragrant sweat, but her bright eyes revealed a hint of excitement. Lin Yu at the side sipped his tea lightly, but he still looked calm. This was because he knew very well that Beima Yuer would succeed this time. But just as Yuja Kitami was about to succeed, outside the courtyard, Beima Yunlei suddenly stepped into the air. Qin Wunyan, die for me. Beima Yunlei flew in and rushed directly to Lin Yu. This brat made him kneel for 3 days. Beima Yunlei wanted to settle this score with him. But when Beima Yunlei made a move, Lin Yu didn't even look at him. Instead, Yuja Kitami was distracted by him at this moment. Boom! In the pill furnace, the medicinal aura spread out and surged non-stop. Chapter 867. At first, it was calm and was about to come out of the furnace, but now it suddenly became violent. Don't hurt young Master Qin! Yuja Kitami cried out. Only then did she realize that something had happened to her elixir at the last moment. The tyrannical flame broke through the furnace. With a bang, the fragments scattered and directly sent Beima Yunlei flying. Seeing this scene, Lin Yu's expression turned cold. His figure disappeared and directly appeared in front of Beima Yunlei, who had just stabilized himself. Idiot! Lin Yu expressionlessly waved his palm. The 5 elements seal palm turned into a tyrannical palm force and directly hit Beima Yunlei. the ladder was immediately smashed to the ground, raising a cloud of dust. Cough, cough. Bae-moi Yunlei clutched his chest and slowly stood up from the ground. He looked at Lin Yu's figure in disbelief. The person brought by Yuja Kitami dared to attack him. This was Northern Moi Yunlei's territory. Bae-moi Yunlei was shocked. This kid only knew how to talk and had no cultivation. How could his combat strength be so strong? After Lin Yu waved his palm, he no longer paid attention to Bae-moi Yunlei. He was clear about the power of his palm just now. At most, it would cause Bae-moi Yunlei to be slightly injured. After all, he still had to use the name of the Bae-moi family to participate in the alchemy conference. He couldn't kill Bae-moi Yunlei with one palm. Lin Yu looked in the direction of Yuja Kitami. Due to the interference at the last moment of pill formation, the flame went out of control and the entire furnace was blown to pieces. At this moment, Yuja Kitami was also in a sorry state. She was shaken to the ground by the impact. Her clothes were also damaged in the flames, revealing patches of white skin. Lin Yu came to Yuja Kitami's side and picked her up from the ground. Young Master Qin. Bae-moi Yu let out a cry of surprise, her face turning red. She knew that her clothes were damaged by the flames just now. The parts that were covered by her clothes were exposed to Lin Yu's eyes. "Don't talk," Lin Yu said unyieldingly. He could tell what Yuja Kitami was thinking, but he didn't give her a chance to continue. As expected, under Lin Yu's domineering attitude, Yuja Kitami could only nod her head with a red face. Then, she buried her face in Lin Yu's chest. Seeing Bae-moi Yu's incomparably bashful look, Lin Yu's face was calm. He had seen too many women. Without any ripples, he carried Bae-moi Yu and walked towards the room. Seeing Lin Yu leave without paying any attention to him, Bae-moi Yunlei immediately felt a burst of anger in his heart. Pooh! Bae-moi Yunlei was already injured, so he directly spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn Qin Wunyan, just you wait! A chill seeped out of his eyes. He stared at Lin Yu's back until it completely disappeared before leaving the courtyard. In the side room, Lin Yu put Yuja Kitami on the bed. Young Master Qin, let me do it myself. After lying on the bed, Yuja Kitami saw Lin Yu reach out to help her get up. She immediately let out a shy voice. Seeing Yuja Kitami refuse him with a red face, Lin Yu didn't get angry. He knew that Yuja Kitami was too shy because of what happened before. Yuja Kitami slowly got up from the bed and sat cross-legged. She closed her eyes and felt her injuries. After a while, Yuja Kitami opened her eyes. She looked a little depressed. The failure of refining pills caused me a backlash. I don't know if I can recover by the time of the Grand Alchemy Conference. Although Yuja Kitami didn't say it directly, Lin Yu knew that she was worried that her injuries might have a bad effect on the Grand Alchemy Conference. Let me take a look for you. After Lin Yu said that, he put his hand on Yuja Kitami's arm. Young Master Qin also knows how to treat illnesses? Yuja Kitami looked a little surprised. But after seeing Lin Yu's very calm expression, she didn't know why she felt relieved. Lin Yu smiled slightly and didn't say anything. Yuja Kitami's eyes widened. She looked at Lin Yu in disbelief. She suddenly felt that her injuries had healed by 70 to 80% in an instant. One had to know that those weren't ordinary injuries. They were internal injuries caused by the backlash in the middle of refining pills. As for the injuries caused by the explosion of the pill furnace and the flames, it wasn't a big deal to her who was in the myriad soul realm. Young Master Qin is so amazing. Yuja Kitami's eyes revealed a look of shock. This jaw-dropping phenomenon was naturally caused by Lin Yu's space-time reset. However, he still didn't fully trust Yuja Kitami, so he didn't completely heal Yuja Kitami's injuries. He only healed by 70 to 80%. By the time the Grand Alchemy Conference began, her injuries would naturally be healed and wouldn't affect the Grand Alchemy Conference. At this time, a voice came from the courtyard. "Father, it's here." I saw with my own eyes that Qin Wunyan carried sister into the room. He was planning to do something to sister. Hearing Bei Moi Yunlei's voice from outside, Yuja Kitami's pretty face turned slightly red. But soon, she frowned. Bei Moi Yunlei, that guy is too much. Bei Moi Yu gritted her teeth and grumbled. He was the one who barged into the courtyard without permission, causing her to fail at the last moment of refining the reverse chakra marrow pill. As a result, she was injured. But now, Bei Moi Yunlei didn't mention a word about it. He just said that Lin Yu carried her into the side room. He was clearly trying to frame him. Yuja Kitami looked at Lin Yu's face. She found that he was still calm and didn't show any signs of anger. Young Master Qin, don't worry. I will seek justice for you, Yuja Kitami said solemnly. Then, she changed her clothes and walked outside. Previously, when she had suffered from the backlash of refining the pill, it had indeed made it difficult for her to move. Lin Yu had also noticed this, so he took the initiative to carry her. However, with Lin Yu's help, her injuries had healed a lot. At least, they wouldn't affect her movements. Yuja Kitami was grateful. At this time, Bei Moi Yunlei kicked the door open. Qin Wunyan, how dare you humiliate my sister in broad daylight? You're dead meat today. Bei Moi Yunlei was sure that Yuja Kitami was still injured. At this moment, as long as Bei Moi Bing was fast enough, he would be able to kill Lin Yu first. As for the truth, he would talk about it later. But just as Bei Moi Bing was about to fly into a rage, she saw Bei Moi Yu standing in front of Lin Yu with a cold expression. Shut up. Don't slander young Master Qin anymore. Seeing Yuja Kitami standing at the door safe and sound, Bei Moi Bing immediately heaved a sigh of relief. Then, he felt a little puzzled. I heard from Yunlei that Mr. Qin, on the way here, Bei Moi Yunlei had told Bei Moi Bing the lie he had made up. He thought that Yuja Kitami had fainted in the violent explosion, so Lin Yu had gone to carry Yuja Kitami away. Bei Moi Yunlei's plan was to take advantage of Yuja Kitami's coma to frame Lin Yu for everything. It would be best if his father could kill Lin Yu. At the very least, he would drive him away. Who would have thought that Yuja Kitami would be completely fine? Bei Moi Yunlei's face turned pale. He slipped behind the crowd, trying to take the opportunity to leave. Although Bei Moi Bing didn't say it out loud, Yuja Kitami was smart enough to understand what he meant. Yuja Kitami stared at Yun Moi Yunlei's panicked figure and said coldly, Bei Moi Yunlei. Stop right there. Hearing this voice, Bei Moi Bing and the people behind him all looked back. Bei Moi Yunlei knew that he had been noticed, so he could only stand there with a sullen face. Father, what Bei Moi Yunlei said before was a lie. I was about to refine the reverse marrow reincarnation pill when Bei Moi Yunlei suddenly barged into the courtyard. That was why I failed. Chapter 868. Bei Mobing slowly nodded when he saw the shattered pill furnace in the courtyard. Although he was not an experienced alchemist, he had some understanding of alchemy. The scene in the courtyard was indeed caused by a failed alchemy. Furthermore, his daughter had just mentioned the reverse marrow reincarnation pill. Could it be that his daughter could now refine that 7th grade pill? Bei Mobing forcefully suppressed the excitement in his heart. What happened after that? Young Master Qin saw that I was injured and brought me back to the room to treat my injuries. Otherwise, my injuries would have affected my performance at the Grand Alchemy meeting. At this moment, Lin Yu also walked out of the room and stood beside Yuja Kitami. After hearing these words and recalling what Bei Moi Yunlei had said to her, how could Bei Moi Bing not know what was going on? Unfilial son. Hurry up and apologize to your sister. Bei Mobing was so angry that he grabbed Bei Mobing Yunlei from a distance. Seeing his furious father, Bei Mobing Yunlei knew that he had no choice but to apologize today. Bei Mobing Yunlei gritted his teeth, his eyes filled with unwillingness. I was wrong. Father, Bei Mobing Yunlei has repeatedly made mistakes. Please punish him. Although Bei Mobing Yunlei had already apologized, Yuja Kitami felt that this was not enough to make it up to Lin Yu. After all, if she had really fainted, Lin Yu would not be able to explain himself even if he had 10,000 mouths. Just as Bei Mobing was feeling hesitant, someone ran in from outside the courtyard and shouted, "Clan leader! The Nangong family is here." When Bei Mobing heard this, he immediately turned around, intending to welcome them. Before he left a message. Let's discuss this later. Let's go welcome the Nangong family first. You have to come over immediately. Seeing the group leave the courtyard, Yuja Kitami pursed her lips in dissatisfaction. Father is still on his side. Lin Yu nodded in understanding, but he did not take the previous incident to heart. To him, not to mention a clown like Bei Moi Yunlei, even Bei Moi Bing wasn't worth his time. Let's go too. The Nangong family is here. Let's go and see what they're planning to do, Yuja Kitami said as she reached out to pull Lin Yu. When she touched his hand, she suddenly came to her senses and quickly retracted her hand. Lin Yu was stunned at first, but when he saw Yuja Kitami running away with a red face, he chuckled and followed her. On the other side, Bei Mobing met the Nangong family in the reception hall. To Bei Mobing's surprise, the leader of the group was actually Nangong Tian. Didn't Nangong Tian suffer serious injuries in the previous sequence battle and lose his cultivation? Although he was puzzled, Bei Mobing still pretended to be indifferent. Why have you come to my Bei Moi clan today? As the leader of the clan, he naturally couldn't lower himself to ask a junior from another clan. Leader Bei Moi, I'm here today to discuss pills with the candidates for the alchemy conference. Nangong Tian cupped his fists and said with a smile. Discuss pills? Bei Mobing raised his eyebrows. He obviously knew what Nangong Tian meant by discuss pills. Alchemy discussion was a kind of activity between alchemists. Two alchemists would gather together and discuss the same pill recipe. Through alchemy discussion, the two alchemists would be able to understand who was stronger and who was weaker. Just as Bei Mobing didn't know how to answer, a voice came from outside the hall. Nangong Tian, you've recovered. Yuja Kitami and Lin Yu walked into the hall together and asked in surprise after sensing Nangong Tian's cultivation. Previously, all of them thought that Nangong Tian had lost his cultivation. That was why the Nangong family placed so much importance on this alchemy conference. However, from the looks of it, Nangong Tian's injuries had completely recovered before the alchemy conference even started. Looks like there's going to be another strong opponent in this alchemy conference. What's so difficult about recovering? I was tricked by Lin Yu because I underestimated my opponent previously. It's just a small injury, it's not worth mentioning. However, it's a pity that Lin Yu was brought to the heavenly region to meet the six-winged divine king by the divine priest of light. Otherwise, I would have taught him a lesson. Nangong Tian turned around and smiled without explaining. However, he was a little surprised when he saw Lin Yu. Yuja Kitami was ranked third in the previous sequence leaderboard. She had always been serious with men of the same generation as her. However, the man in front of him could walk alongside Yuja Kitami. There must be something special about him. Who is this? Qin Wunyan. Lin Yu smiled casually in front of Nangong Tian. After noticing the way Nangong Tian looked at him, he knew that Nangong Tian didn't see through his disguise. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so calm. As for the recovery of Nangong Tian's cultivation, Lin Yu wasn't too shocked by it. From Nangong Tian's aura, he could sense the traces of the engulfing starry sky. Nangong Tian must have absorbed the cultivation of countless people before he recovered. The Nangong family is indeed impressive. Lin Yu sneered in his heart. Nangong Tian continued, as if he wanted to change the topic about his cultivation. Yuja Kitami, you're the one representing the Beima family in the alchemy conference, right? Yes. How about we have a discussion about alchemy? Yuja Kitami nodded after thinking for a while. Sure. Although she didn't have a good impression of Nangong Tian would definitely represent the Nangong family in the alchemy conference, since he had recovered his cultivation. It was a good thing to know Nangong Tian's alchemy skills in advance. Bei Mobing also ordered the servants to prepare a quiet room for the two of them to discuss alchemy. Soon, everyone arrived at the quiet room. Other than Yuja Kitami and Nangong Tian, Lin Yu and Bei Mobing were also watching from the side. Let's discuss alchemy with my alchemy manual. Yuja Kitami took out the alchemy manual for the reverse marrow reincarnation pill and placed it on the table. However, young Master Nangong should know the rules of the four big families, right? Beima Yuer's plan was to figure out Nangong Tian's abilities in the pill Dao. Therefore, this pill recipe that she had already understood was the most suitable. Of course, a grade 7 alchemy manual was very precious and couldn't be obtained easily. It was even more precious for some alchemists, as they could only get one after a long time. However, it wasn't that precious for a core disciple of a family like Nangong Tian. The reverse marrow reincarnation pill is not bad. Of course, I know the rules. Since Miss Bei Mobing has shown me the alchemy manual, I can't refine this pill during the alchemy conference. Otherwise, I will be killed by the backlash. Nangong Tian was very clear about the rules. It was a rule left behind by the Elixir King. Anyone who took out the alchemy manual from the Elixir King temple would know this rule. There were people who stole other people's alchemy manuals before. However, as long as that person had entered the Elixir King temple before, he would know the rules of the Elixir King. Once Nangong Tian and Yuja Kitami refined the same pill during the alchemy conference at the same time. If the Elixir King temple recognized that the alchemy manual came from Yuja Kitami, Nangong Tian would be punished by the Elixir King temple. Thinking of this, Nangong Tian smiled knowingly and took out the alchemy manual for the reverse marrow reincarnation pill to read carefully. Yuja Kitami also took out a copy of the alchemy manual for the reverse marrow reincarnation pill. Although she knew the contents of the alchemy manual by heart, she still had to pretend. After an hour, Nangong Tian put down the alchemy manual in his hand. This alchemy manual is indeed a little difficult. It's one of the best among the grade 7 pills. If you can refine this pill, you will have a lot of advantages compared to other grade 7 pills during the selection. There was admiration in Nangong Tian's eyes. After hearing Nangong Tian's words, Yuja Kitami didn't feel happy. Instead, her heart sank. She obviously knew the quality of the reverse marrow reincarnation pill. Therefore, she wasn't surprised by what Nangong Tian said. Instead, she felt pressured by the fact that Nangong Tian could finish reading the alchemy manual in an hour and even understand the information contained in it. Nangong Tian didn't seem to notice Yuja Kitami's expression and continued. However, the ingredients for the reverse marrow reincarnation pill are very complicated. There are a few rare ingredients in it. During the alchemy conference, you can only look for the ingredients in the Elixir King forest. It's very difficult to find all the ingredients in this alchemy manual. At this point, Nangong Tian shook his head regretfully. I understand. Then I'll take my leave first. See you during the alchemy conference. I hope we can work together in the future. Nangong Tian clasped his fists and left the quiet room. As the leader of the tribe, Bei Mobing had the responsibility to send the guest off. Naturally, he followed Nangong Tian out. Chapter 869. Only Lin Yu and Yuja Kitami were left in the quiet room. Mr. Chin. Yuja Kitami looked at Lin Yu hesitantly. Do you think the reverse marrow reincarnation elixir is suitable to be refined in the alchemy conference? Although she didn't know if Nangong Tian meant well, his words reminded Yuja Kitami. The reverse marrow reincarnation elixir was one of the best among the grade 7 elixirs. The ingredients used to refine it were naturally very rare, and it was much more difficult to collect the ingredients for the other grade 7 elixirs. Even if the alchemy conference was held in the Elixir King Forest, there would definitely be all the ingredients needed to refine the reverse marrow reincarnation elixir. However, it was one thing to have the ingredients and another to be able to find all the ingredients in the competition. Don't worry, but we still need to make some other preparations. Lin Yu smiled. He knew Yuja Kitami's worries, but it wasn't difficult for him to enter the Elixir King Forest to find the ingredients. After all, the most powerful cultivators who participated in the alchemy conference were only in the Myriad Souls realm. They weren't a threat to Lin Yu. After hearing Lin Yu's words, Baima Yuer felt an inexplicable sense of relief, but then a trace of doubt appeared. What else do we need to prepare? A recipe that is even more precious than the reverse marrow reincarnation elixir, Lin Yu said calmly. After seeing Yuja Kitami's confused expression, he continued, let's not consider the other participants. Nangong Tian remained calm after knowing that you were refining the reverse marrow reincarnation elixir. This means that he doesn't think that the reverse marrow reincarnation elixir is a threat. Perhaps he has a better recipe. Lin Yu's words woke Yuja Kitami up. Then, she heard Lin Yu continue, you should have some understanding of his alchemy skills during the alchemy conference just now. He might be able to refine an elixir that is even more powerful than the reverse marrow reincarnation elixir. Listen carefully. A thoughtful look flashed across Yuja Kitami's eyes as she nodded. Nangong Tian's alchemy skills are indeed very good. We have to be prepared in advance. But my Baima clan doesn't have a better pill recipe. This pill recipe for the reverse marrow chakra pill was obtained from the Pill King Temple, and it's the best pill recipe I can get. Although the pill recipes for grade 7 pills were precious, the Baima clan still had a few copies. However, the quality of those pill recipes couldn't compare to the reverse marrow reincarnation pill. As for pill recipes for 8th grade pills, even the Baima clan had never collected them. It wasn't that he couldn't afford it, but because the Northern Moi clan had never produced an 8th grade alchemist. Even if he bought the pill recipe, it would be a waste. Lin Yu blinked. If you can get a 7th grade pill, what about me? With the benefits of the Pill King Temple in front of him, Lin Yu naturally wanted to take advantage of it. Maybe after entering the Pill King Temple, he would be able to obtain a powerful pill recipe that would allow him to break through to a higher realm. But only people from the 4 major clans can enter the Pill King Temple. Yuja Kitami looked a little confused. Also, the Pill King Temple awards pill recipes based on one's alchemy aptitude. The highest alchemy aptitude I have in my clan is only a 7th grade pill recipe. Lin Yu smiled but didn't say anything. Yuja Kitami's eyes lit up when she noticed Lin Yu's expression. If it's Mr. Chin, you'll definitely be able to get a more precious pill recipe. Although Mr. Chin isn't from the Baima clan, I can turn you into one. Oh! Yuja Kitami said excitedly. She hurriedly grabbed Lin Yu's arm and walked out. In the reception hall, Bei Mobing had just sent Nangong Tian away. Bei Mobing Yunlei stood beside him and said angrily, Father, Nangong Tian is just a junior. Why do you value him so much? Bei Mobing Yunlei was very unhappy when he saw Bei Mobing accompanying Nangong Tian throughout the visit. Nangong Tian was about the same age as him. Why was his status so much higher than his? Shut up! Bei Mobing scolded. Suddenly, he noticed Yuja Kitami and Lin Yu. You were after the alchemy discussion just now. What do you think of Nangong Tian's alchemy skills? Nangong Tian's alchemy skills are very strong. He's on par with me. Yuja Kitami nodded. A strange look appeared in her eyes. Father, Bei Mobing Yunlei made a mistake previously. How do you plan to punish him? Bei Mobing turned to look at Bei Mobing Yunlei. He was a little hesitant. Bei Mobing Yunlei didn't seem to care at all. He knew that his father liked him more than Yuja Kitami. Even if he wanted to punish him, it was just for show. Humph. Yuja Kitami snorted coldly. Then, she took out a pill furnace and placed it on the ground. You were? Bei Mobing looked over in confusion. He didn't know what Yuja Kitami wanted to do. Could it be that she planned to refine pills here? Suddenly, he remembered that Yuja Kitami had mentioned refining the reverse marrow reincarnation pill. His expression instantly became a little excited. However, Yuja Kitami didn't explain anything. Instead, she sat quietly beside the pill furnace and started refining the pill. The flames in the pill furnace gradually boiled, causing the temperature in the entire reception hall to rise. Bei Mobing stared at the pill furnace. Even Bei Mobing Yunlei didn't dare to make a sound at this time. After all, Bei Mobing was here. If he disrupted the pill refinement like last time, Bei Mobing Yunlei would definitely not let him off easily. 80%, 90%. Lin Yu stood at the side calmly. He knew that the pill refinement this time was a success. As expected, the flames in the pill furnace started to dissipate. Then, a strong pill fragrance came from the pill furnace. Yuja Kitami wiped the sweat on her forehead and took out the pill. Father, please take a look. This is the reverse marrow reincarnation pill. Let me see. Bei Mobing excitedly took the pill. After carefully examining it for a while, he looked up and laughed loudly. Haha, you actually refined the reverse marrow reincarnation pill. You're indeed my daughter. To Bei Mobing, the head of the Nangong family, a 7th grade pill wasn't that precious. However, a 7th grade alchemist and a 7th grade pill were two completely different things. This meant that the Nangong family could start mass-producing 7th grade pills now. From Bei Mobing's attitude towards Great Master Yen, it was clear how high the status of a high-grade alchemist was. It's all thanks to young Master Qin's guidance. Yuja Kitami smiled and pushed all the credit to Lin Yu. Bei Mobing hurriedly looked at Lin Yu. Mr. Qin's methods are indeed superb. What does Mr. Qin need? The Bei Mobing family will definitely find it for you. To be able to guide his daughter to refine the reverse marrow reincarnation pill, one had to be at least a 8th grade alchemist. Even as the head of the 4 great families, he had to treat such a person with respect. Young Master Qin wants to enter the Pill King Temple, Yuja Kitami said on behalf of Lin Yu. The Pill King Temple. Bei Mobing was slightly stunned and felt a little troubled. This was because only members of the 4 great families could enter the Pill King Temple. Even members of the 4 great families could only enter once in their lifetime. When entering the Pill King Temple, they had to provide a drop of their blood essence. Under normal circumstances, people who weren't from the 4 great families could not enter. Father, you previously said that you wanted to punish Bei Mobing Yunlei. This time, you can take a drop of his blood essence and give it to young Master Qin as an apology for offending young Master Qin. Yuja Kitami said unhurriedly from the side. Although her voice was very calm, it was extremely terrifying to Bei Mobing Yunlei. He actually wanted to take out his blood essence and let someone else enter the Pill King Temple on his behalf. How could Bei Mobing Yunlei agree to hand over such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to someone else? Bei Moi Yunlei's figure slowly retreated out of the hall when he suddenly heard a thunderous voice. Stop right there! Chapter 870. Bei Mobing grabbed Bei Mo Yunlei and brought him back to his side. Yunlei, you offended Mr. Qin previously. Take out a drop of essence blood and offer it to Mr. Qin. Although Bei Mobing favored his son, he was no fool since he could become the patriarch of the Bei Moyun family. Compared to Bei Moyun Lei's fortuitous encounter, the alchemy conference was obviously more important. Bei Moyun Lei's face turned pale when he heard Bei Mobing's words. He gritted his teeth and wanted to refuse, but in the end, he lowered his head dejectedly. I understand. Bei Moyun Lei bit the tip of his tongue and forced a drop of essence blood out of his body. He instantly became much weaker. Essence blood was the essence of a person, and there was not much of it. Losing a drop would have a huge impact. Mr. Qin, accept it. Bei Mobing sent the drop of essence blood to Lin Yu. I also want to ask Mr. Qin for a favor. Lin Yu waved his hand and accepted the blood essence, then nodded. Please speak, Patriarch Bei Moyun. Mr. Qin should know that the alchemy conference is about to begin. I originally wanted Yunlei to accompany you, but now it seems that Yunlei is not suitable to participate. Bei Mobing looked at Bei Moyun Lei with disappointment and continued, so I want Mr. Qin to accompany you to participate and strive to obtain first place in this alchemy conference. Although only the 4 great families and 5 regions could participate in the alchemy conference, every faction could find a helper. This helper's identity was not restricted. Qin Wunyan will do his best. Lin Yu smiled faintly. He had not thought of how to obtain the Bei Moyun family's participation quota, but Bei Mobing had taken the initiative to deliver it to him. Yuja Kitami was delighted. With Mr. Qin's help, they had a greater chance of winning this alchemy conference. Father, let's prepare and go to the Elixir King Temple. Okay. After seeing Lin Yu and Yuja Kitami leave the guest hall, Bei Mobing put Bei Moyun Lei down. Father, why did you give the quota to that Qin guy? Bei Mo Yunlei glared, his face full of anger. Right now, my Bei Ma clan is in need of people. Mr. Qin's alchemy skills are superb, and having Mr. Qin be Yu's helper couldn't be better. Bei Mo Bing said solemnly. She then turned to Bei Mo Yunlei. Could it be that you have to participate? Your alchemy skills are not as good as your father's. Your father's alchemy skills were ranked last among the 4 great clans. Wouldn't it be a waste to leave the Pill King Temple's qualifications to you? Hearing this question, Bei Mo Yunlei shrank back and didn't dare to make a sound. He wanted to go to the alchemy grand meeting to show his face. He was very clear about his own alchemy Dao strength, and he couldn't help the Bei Ma clan at all. At the other side, after giving some instructions to Qin Yi and the others, Lin Yu followed Yuja Kitami and left the core area of the Bei Ma clan. Although the Pill King Temple was within the Bei Mo clan's territory, it was located at the edge of the Bei Mo clan. Lin Yu wanted to take care of Yuja Kitami's speed, so it took a full 2 hours for the 2 of them to reach the Pill King Temple. This is the Pill King Temple. Yuja Kitami looked at Lin Yu. In front of the 2 of them was an extremely magnificent temple. It was built with pieces of golden bricks, and it constantly emitted wisps of pill fragrance. Lin Yu nodded and looked at the entrance of the Pill King Temple. How should I go in later? How will the people in the Pill King Temple check if the people who come in are from the 4 great clans? On both sides of the entrance of the Pill King Temple stood 2 rows of guards. From their auras, Lin Yu could feel that they were all in the myriad soul realm. Young Master Qin, you just need to give the drop of essence blood to the guards at the entrance, and you can go in. Yuja Kitami immediately answered Lin Yu's question and continued. These guards will collect the essence blood of the people who enter the Pill King Temple and screen them. Everyone from the 4 great clans only has 1 chance to enter the Pill King Temple. At this moment, a surprised voice came from the side. Miss Bei Ma. Lin Yu and Yuja Kitami turned their heads to look. After seeing the person, Yuja Kitami frowned and whispered to Lin Yu, This is Dongwang Absolute Sage from the Dongwang family. He is also the representative of the Dongwang family in this alchemy meeting. His alchemy skills are not weak. Dongwang Absolute Sage came to Lin Yu with a few people behind him. Dongwang Absolute Sage. Yuja Kitami looked indifferent. What a coincidence. May I know who this is? Dongwang Absolute Sage said with a smile, but a touch of coldness flashed in his eyes. Qin Wunyan. Facing Dongwang Absolute Sage, Lin Yu smiled casually. Although the coldness in Dongwang Absolute Sage's eyes only appeared for a short moment, it still could not escape Lin Yu's eyes. Moreover, from the expression of Dongwang Absolute Sage when he looked at Yuja Kitami, Lin Yu immediately understood the reason behind it. Miss Baima, I just got a 7th grade elixir recipe from the Elixir King Temple. If there is a chance, can we have an alchemy discussion? Dongwang Absolute Sage looked at Lin Yu with a proud face, showing off his harvest just now. He seemed to think that this would make Yuja Kitami think highly of him. Among the disciples of the 4 big families, most of the elixir recipes they brought out from the Elixir King Temple were 4th grade elixir recipes. Those who could bring out 5th grade or 6th grade elixir recipes could be said to be very talented in alchemy. Those who could get 7th grade elixir recipes from the Elixir King Temple were 1 in a million geniuses. There had never been anyone with a higher grade elixir recipe. No, we have other things to do. Don't disturb us. Yuja Kitami said lightly, not taking it to heart at all. Although 7th grade elixir recipes were precious, Yuja Kitami had already gotten a 7th grade elixir recipe herself. There was nothing to be proud of. Seeing that Yuja Kitami did not want to talk to him and walked towards the Elixir King Temple with Lin Yu, Dongwang Absolute Sage's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. Miss Baima, the person you brought with you is not from the Baima family, is he? Only the people of the 4 big families can enter the Elixir King Temple. Why did you bring an outsider here? Dongwang Absolute Sage deliberately raised his voice to let the guards outside the Elixir King Temple notice the situation here. Hearing Dongwang Absolute Sage's words, Yuja Kitami's pretty face was stunned, and then she reacted. Dongwang Absolute Sage obviously wanted to let the people of the Elixir King Temple notice them and disrupt their plan. In fact, using the essence and blood of others to bring in people who did not belong to the 4 big families was something that everyone was aware of. Even the guards of the Elixir King Temple turned a blind eye to it. However, this kind of thing was exposed in front of them. Even if they did not want to, they had to do something about it. Otherwise, if the higher-ups of the Elixir King Tower knew about this, they would definitely be held responsible. Miss Baima, please let the person beside you show the mark of the Baima family. The head guard said to Yuja Kitami solemnly. Every person of the 4 big families had a mark, which could be used to prove their identity. Lin Yu looked at everything in front of him expressionlessly. Obviously, under the interference of Dongwang Absolute Sage, who only needed to show a drop of essence and blood to enter the Elixir King Temple, now he had to check the mark. It seemed that this person did not want to live anymore. Lin Yu had already set the date of Dongwang Absolute Sage's death in his heart. Before, Yuja Kitami said that he would participate in the alchemy conference. Then he would stay in the Elixir King Forest forever. Chapter 871. Dongwang Paragon Sage looked at this scene with a cold smile. No one would be able to solve the current situation. Moreover, these guards all knew the guy with the surname Qin. In the future, he would not have the chance to enter the Elixir King Temple. However, a scene that shocked everyone happened. Under everyone's gaze, Yuja Kitami actually stretched out her arms and wrapped them around Lin Yu's neck. Then, she stood on her tiptoes and kissed him on the cheek. Qin Wunyan is my husband. It's just that my father hasn't announced it to the public yet. However, He is a member of the Beima family. Yuja Kitami's pretty face turned crimson. She pretended to be calm as she spoke to the guard. However, when she involuntarily held onto Linyu, her slightly trembling hands betrayed her. After feeling the softness on his face, Linyu was stunned at first. Then, he smiled and said, "Isn't the son-in-law of the Beima family a member of the 4 great families?" "Yes, yes." The guard was shocked and stuttered as he spoke. He had stayed at the entrance of the Elixir King Temple for so long, but he had never seen anyone prove their identity like this. Moreover, the person who did this was not an ordinary disciple of the Beima family, but the current young master of the Beima family. Yuja Kitami. Dongwang Paragon Sage's eyes were filled with anger when he saw this scene. He changed the way he addressed Yuja Kitami. When he tried to make things difficult for Linyu, he did not expect such a result. The woman he liked actually kissed another man in front of him. What a son-in-law! Do you know that a son-in-law who is not capable will be crushed by others? Dongwang Paragon Sage's face was distorted. In a flash, he attacked Linyu. He did not sense any aura from Linyu at all. He could deal with such a guy with one punch. How dare you! Seeing Dongwang Paragon Sage attack, Yuja Kitami's face turned cold. Those who knew Yuja Kitami knew that she was really angry. Yuja Kitami came in front of Linyu and raised her hand to block the attack of Dongwang Absolute Sage. Although Dongwang Absolute Sage was the supreme talent of the Dongwang family, he was also at the peak of the Myriad Soul realm. However, in front of Yuja Kitami, who ranked 3rd in the 8th sequence battle, he was still not strong enough. After only one move, Dongwang Absolute Sage was knocked back to his original position. When Dongwang Paragon saw that his attack had been easily neutralized by Yuja Kitami, his face turned even more ghastly. It wasn't just because he had seen Yuja Kitami's strength. More importantly, the reason why Yuja Kitami had attacked him. She was actually protecting another man. Qin Wunyan. Dongwang Jisheng's face darkened. He gritted his teeth and said, "Are you still a man? How could you hide behind a woman and ask her to stand up for you?" He knew that if he were to confront Yuja Kitami head-on, he would definitely be no match for her. That would embarrass himself and leave a bad impression on Yuja Kitami. Linyu didn't take Dongwang Absolute Sage's mockery to heart. This person was already a dead man in his heart. It was only a matter of time. Mr. Qin. Yuja Kitami didn't know what Linyu was thinking. She looked back worriedly and said, "Ignore him. Even if there were 10,000 of him, he wouldn't be able to beat you in terms of alchemy." Just as Yuja Kitami turned back, Dongwang Absolute Sage's lips curled into a cold smile. Dongwang Absolute Sage turned into a shadow and rushed toward Linyu. He had been waiting for this opportunity. He had finally caught him. After he killed this guy, Yuja Kitami would be his. Dongwang Absolute Sage was overjoyed. He attacked Linyu from the other side of Yuja Kitami's head. Mr. Qin. Yuja Kitami felt the momentum coming toward her. She quickly turned back, but found that it was too late to stop him. Her face instantly turned pale. "Go to hell." Seeing that his fist was about to hit Linyu's head, Dongwang Absolute Sage shouted crazily. "Do you want to die?" Linyu's face was cold. He pointed at Dongwang Absolute Sage casually. In an instant, Dongwang Absolute Sage felt that his perception had slowed down. The everlasting night had arrived. The god of death passed through and suddenly enlarged in front of his eyes. No. Impossible. He felt a chill down his spine. He knelt on the ground. 3 feet above his head, a black sickle was suspended, ready to fall at any time. Death was very close to him. Mr. Qin. Yuja Kitami's heart trembled. She only felt that Dongwang Absolute Sage would really die when the sickle fell. Fortunately, Linyu just wanted to scare him. Seeing that Dongwang Absolute Sage's legs were shaking and yellow liquid was flowing out, He did not bother to pay attention to him, and dispersed the god of death. For a moment, everyone came to their senses. Then, the scene of Lin Yu defeating Dong Wang Absolute Sage with one move was imprinted in Yuja Kitami's eyes. Mr. Qin is so powerful. Yuja Kitami's heart was beating very fast. It was the first time that she had seen such an unfathomable man. She had thought that Mr. Qin was only good at alchemy. She did not expect him to be so powerful. Even she could not defeat Dong Wang Absolute Sage with one move. Dong Wang Absolute Sage was scared out of his wit. Under the backlash of his cultivation, he spat out a big mouthful of blood. He looked at Lin Yu in disbelief. What the hell? This guy looked like a toy boy without any cultivation. How could his combat capability be so strong? Can I go in now? Lin Yu did not bother to pay attention to Dong Wang Absolute Sage anymore. He faced the guard and asked calmly. Yes, yes. The guard answered repeatedly. He swallowed his saliva and was so shocked that he did not dare to speak for a long time. Mr. Qin. Yuja Kitami called out to Lin Yu. Yuja Kitami came to Lin Yu's side. She bent down and whispered into Lin Yu's ear with a slight blush. Got it. After a while, Lin Yu nodded and walked into the Elixir King Temple. What Beimo Yu had secretly told him was none other than the situation he would encounter after entering the Pill King Temple. According to Yuja Kitami, there were two things that could be seen after entering the Elixir King Temple: the Elixir King's life experience and his understanding of alchemy. The Elixir King's life experience was easy to understand. One could look at the Elixir King's great achievements from the beginning. The Elixir King's understanding of alchemy would enter a Elixir Furnace secret realm. The higher one's aptitude, the further one could go in the Elixir Furnace secret realm. At the end of the Elixir Furnace secret realm was a cold wall. As long as one could get close to the wall, one could get a grade 7 elixir recipe. Seeing Lin Yu's figure slowly disappear through the gate of the Elixir King Temple, Yuja Kitami's heart was filled with confidence. She had no doubt that Lin Yu could get a grade 7 elixir recipe or even higher. On the other side, Dong Wang Absolute Sage was also helped down by the people he brought. You are a bunch of trash. Dong Wang Absolute Sage could only vent his anger on those people. Those people all lowered their heads and did not dare to refute. The most powerful person among them had not reached the Myriad Souls realm. Even Dong Wang Absolute Sage could not take one move from that person. They would be courting death if they went up against him. I don't believe that he has the time to study alchemy when he is so powerful. Dong Wang Absolute Sage did not believe it. He sat near the Elixir King Temple and stared at the gate of the Elixir King Temple. Come on, help me change my pants. A group of people gathered outside the Elixir King Temple, waiting for Lin Yu to come out. Even the guards were curious about the elixir recipe he would bring out. Chapter 872. After Lin Yu entered the Elixir King Temple, what came into view was a row of neatly arranged stone tablets. The stone tablets exuded an ancient aura. Lin Yu went forward and looked at them one by one. He realized that the Elixir King's achievements were recorded on the tablet. Refined 333,000 pills and successfully stepped into the realm above the 9th grade, the Elixir King realm. In my lifetime, I helped 50 people step into the Spirit King realm. Helped 800 people step into the Myriad Soul realm. Helped 10,000 people step into the Four Symbols realm. Countless people step into the Balanced realm. The achievements recorded on the tablets were extremely grand. However, Lin Yu recalled that the Elixir King was a disciple of the Great Solar Buddha. Then, how unfathomable was the Great Solar Buddha? Lin Yu's curiosity towards the Vairocana Buddha deepened. At this time, Lin Yu walked to the last stone tablet and saw the content engraved on it. My last regret is that I didn't refine the Peerless Emperor pill. Consuming the Peerless Emperor pill would allow a Spirit King realm expert to step into the Emperor realm without any hindrance. Furthermore, there are no side effects. What a pity! Peerless Emperor pill. Lin Yu muttered softly. Then, he looked towards the center of the Elixir King Temple. There was a statue that was more than 10 meters tall. The statue was the Elixir King himself. Lin Yu recalled Yuja Kitami's reminder and sat down in front of the Elixir King's statue. The Elixir Furnace Mystic Realm that Yuja Kitami mentioned could only be entered by comprehending this statue. Lin Yu had just closed his eyes when he realized that he was in an illusory orange flame. Clearly, he had entered the Elixir Furnace Mystic Realm in an instant. Lin Yu turned his head and scanned his surroundings. He realized that everything around him was filled with orange flames. Only the path in front of him could be moved forward. The Elixir Furnace Mystic Realm is indeed interesting. Lin Yu smiled faintly and walked forward calmly. Strange reflections constantly appeared on the road. These reflections were left behind by people who had entered the Pill Furnace Mystic Realm. In the Pill Furnace Mystic Realm, one would be able to leave their own reflections wherever they went. After walking for a long time, Lin Yu suddenly noticed the wall that Yuja Kitami mentioned. Is this really the end of the Pill Furnace Mystic Realm? Lin Yu narrowed his eyes and observed carefully. There were a few familiar figures near the wall. Nangong Tian, Yuja Kitami, Dong Wang Jisheng. Those who were able to walk close to this wall were all alchemy geniuses who obtained 7th grade pill recipes. Because only those with extremely high aptitude in alchemy would be able to withstand the increasing pressure in the mystic realm and reach this place. However, until now, Lin Yu had not felt the so-called pressure. Passing through these reflections, Lin Yu arrived in front of the wall. As expected, the Pill Furnace Mystic Realm did not send me out. Therefore, this is definitely not the end of the Mystic Realm. There must be more precious pill recipes ahead. Lin Yu's lips curled up and a ray of light flashed across his eyes. According to Yuja Kitami, everyone who could not withstand the pressure in the Mystic Realm would be automatically sent out of the Mystic Realm. Previously, in the Pill Furnace Mystic Realm, a few people walked to this wall before they were sent out. They all thought that this wall was the end of the Mystic Realm. Lin Yu gently pressed his hand against the wall and instantly felt a bone-chilling coldness from his palm. This wall was like an ice wall. It looked extremely sturdy and did not look like it could be broken. Lin Yu raised his eyebrows and slowly raised his other hand. Behind Lin Yu, the shadow of an Azura was formed. He punched the wall with his fist. Boom! The tyrannical power directly penetrated the wall. Under Azura's attack, a hole the size of a person appeared on the wall. Looking at the scene on the other side of the wall, Lin Yu smiled slightly. Previously, he felt that it was a little strange. The Pill King was a 9th grade alchemist and above. But in the mystic realm that he left behind, the most precious thing that the 4 great clans' disciples obtained was only a 7th grade pill recipe. This did not make sense at all. Therefore, he noticed the wall that Yuja Kitami mentioned. At that time, he guessed that this wall was not the end of the Pill Furnace Mystic Realm. He guessed it right. Lin Yu looked over the wall and found that on the other side of the wall, there were layers of blue water patterns. These blue water patterns emitted a bone-chilling coldness, combined with the orange flames that Lin Yu saw on his way here. Lin Yu immediately had an answer in his heart. This Pill Furnace Mystic Realm clearly used the 2 attributes of Yin and Yang to form a Yin-Yang realm. And that wall was the boundary that maintained the balance between Yin and Yang, using the 2 attributes of Yin and Yang to achieve a wonderful balance. Good method, worthy of the Pill King. Lin Yu's eyes flashed with a ray of light. He had already seen through the essence of this so-called Pill Furnace Mystic Realm. The Yin-Yang array placed in the Pill Furnace Mystic Realm was to create an excellent environment for alchemy. And the entire Mystic Realm was just a pill furnace. Maybe because of the Pill King's death, although the Pill Furnace mystic realm could still be entered, the Yin-Yang array had long stopped operating. Therefore, this Yin-Yang realm was so peaceful. Lin Yu could imagine how grand the scene would be when the Dan King used this place to refine pills in the past. Suddenly, Lin Yu noticed that on the wall that he had just broken, there were light spots floating out. When those light spots came into contact with Lin Yu's body, they disappeared without a trace. And in Lin Yu's mind there was a mysterious thing. Pill King's inheritance? Lin Yu's expression was a little strange. Although he guessed that the most valuable thing in this Pill Furnace mystic realm was definitely not the 7th grade pill manual. But he did not expect that the reward after breaking the wall would be the Pill King's inheritance. This was the inheritance of an alchemist above the 9th grade. If it was placed in the primitive continent, who knew how many people would go crazy for it? Lin Yu did not move at all, but the Pill King's inheritance seemed to have waited for thousands of years. At this moment, it sensed Lin Yu's appearance and came to check on him. After scanning Lin Yu for a round, it actually began to transform into endless Dao and poured into Lin Yu's mind. This Pill Dao inheritance really came running over by itself. Lin Yu was helpless and could only close his eyes and begin to comprehend. 2 hours. 4 hours. After he finished comprehending, he opened his eyes. This Pill King's inheritance is not complete. What appeared in his mind was only half of the Pill King's inheritance, and the other part, according to the inheritance's records, was placed in the Pill King Pagoda. Now I have another reason to go to the Pill King Pagoda. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Although the Pill King's inheritance that appeared in his mind was only a part, it still contained a huge amount of information. To fully comprehend this information, it would take at least a few days. But there was another convenient way, which was to use alchemy to assist in comprehending this inheritance. Chapter 873. The Alchemy King's inheritance naturally tested one's alchemy skills. The higher the grade of the medicinal pill refined, the shorter the time needed to comprehend the inheritance. Lin Yu casually took out a set of ingredients and placed it in the air. He urged the flames to envelop it and started smelting. At the same time, he closed his eyes and calmed his heart to comprehend the inheritance in his mind. If there were other alchemists here, they would definitely prostrate themselves in admiration from Lin Yu's actions. To an alchemist, whether or not the pill refinement could succeed, the most important thing was the control of the medicinal pill. But not only did Lin Yu close his eyes, he even placed most of his attention on other places. Could he still refine the medicinal pill like this? But those medicinal ingredients in front of Lin Yu were under his control. After going through the smelting of the flames, they actually started to slowly condense into shape. Various medicinal ingredients gradually condensed into a round medicinal pill. It even continuously emitted a strong medicinal fragrance. This was an 8th grade pill. Pill formed. After Lin Yu kept this medicinal pill, he did not even open his eyes and took out another set of ingredients. But this set of ingredients compared to the previous set of ingredients, there were many more types of medicinal ingredients. Among them, there were some extremely precious medicinal ingredients. Every single one of them would attract countless alchemists to fight for them in the outside world. Lin Yu used the same method to control the flames to envelop those medicinal ingredients and started smelting. But this time, the speed of the medicinal pill's condensation was clearly much slower than before. Lin Yu did not feel anxious. On the contrary, he had already placed most of his attention on comprehending the inheritance. As long as he comprehended the inheritance thoroughly, the medicinal pill on the other side would naturally be refined. At that time, he would also step into a brand new realm. 70%, 80%, 90%. As the medicinal pill in front of Lin Yu gradually solidified, the inheritance's information in his mind was also rapidly absorbed by him. Suddenly, Lin Yu smiled faintly and slowly opened his eyes. The medicinal ingredients that had not been completely refined in the flames instantly solidified into shape. They condensed into a medicinal pill that was suffused with golden light. The moment Lin Yu opened his eyes, he had already grasped all the contents of the inheritance. Because of this, he was able to easily complete the final step of this 9th grade Dan. This also meant that he had stepped into a new realm. If it was before he comprehended the Elixir King's inheritance, he would definitely not be able to do this. 9th grade Pill Master, half-step Pill King, Lin Yu muttered to himself. He had already become a 9th grade alchemist, and was only a step away from the legendary Pill King. And what he had just obtained from the inheritance was a Pill King's manual. The Pill King's encyclopedia recorded all the pills and recipes that the Pill King had seen in his life. Just like the 7th grade pill recipe that Yuja Kitami obtained from the Pill King Temple, the recipe for the reverse marrow reincarnation pill. It was also recorded in the Pill King's encyclopedia. Furthermore, there were many 7th grade and above pill recipes that were also recorded in this treasure book. One could imagine how precious this grimoire was. Lin Yu suddenly realized that he had already returned to the Pill King Temple and was sitting cross-legged in front of the Pill King's statue. It turned out that when he opened his eyes, he had already been transported out of the Pill Furnace secret realm. At the same time, outside the Pill King Temple, a dazzling pill light shot up into the sky from the Pill King Temple. The territories of the 4 great clans were not far from here. The experts in the clans also noticed the change in the sky above the Pill King Temple and released their divine senses to spy on it. The Pill King Temple and the Pill King Pagoda were independent forces that controlled the flow of many pills. The experts of the 4 great clans did not dare to barge in recklessly and could only investigate from afar. However, other than the pill light, their spiritual wills did not sense anything out of the ordinary. It was as if the pill light had appeared out of thin air. After Lin Yu walked out of the Pill King Temple, he also noticed the pill light that pierced through the sky outside. He knew that this pill light should be a change caused by him obtaining the Pill King's inheritance, so he was not surprised. Young Master Qin. Seeing Lin Yu come out, Yuja Kitami hurried to his side. When she saw the change in the Pill King Temple, she was worried that Lin Yu might be in danger or trapped inside. Now that she saw Lin Yu appear, she was finally relieved. Young Master Qin, what kind of elixir recipe did you get? Yuja Kitami asked excitedly. Let's talk about it after we leave. Lin Yu smiled faintly and did not answer her question. Yuja Kitami saw this and followed Lin Yu obediently. The two of them walked in the direction they came from. At this moment, those who were guarding outside the Pill King Temple were very flustered because of the sudden change, and no one cared about what grade of elixir recipe Lin Yu got. The only one who stared at Lin Yu was Dongwang Jisheng. Dongwang Jisheng looked at Lin Yu and Yuja Kitami angrily as they left. He suddenly noticed that Lin Yu slipped out an elixir from his pocket when he left. Except for him, no one else noticed it. When Dongwang Jisheng saw that the elixir was full of rich elixir essence, he could not help but feel shocked. Even a 7th grade elixir did not have such rich elixir essence. What was the quality of this elixir? Since no one saw it, it's mine. Dongwang Jisheng was delighted and quickly ran over to pick it up. Lin Yu had previously caused him to suffer such a huge loss, and had even caused him to lose face in front of Beimo Yu. He would gladly accept this precious medicinal pill. Idiot Qin Wunyan, how could he lose such a valuable elixir? Dongwang Jisheng thought and reached out to the elixir. Suddenly, a strong force gathered in the elixir. Before Dongwang Jisheng could figure out the situation, the elixir directly exploded. Boom! Dongwang Jisheng, who was already injured, had no time to resist the impact and was sent flying dozens of meters away. Master! Hearing the loud roar, the people of the Dongwang family all ran towards him. They all had the same thought at the same time. Next time, no matter what, I won't accompany Dong Huang Jisheng out. This guy is really good at causing trouble. Looking at Dong Huang Jisheng, who was seriously injured, they were speechless. On the other side, after Lin Yu returned to the room that the Beima family had arranged for him, Lin Yu stabilized the things that he had obtained from the Elixir King's inheritance and sorted out the elixir recipes in the Elixir King's book. Time flew by and the alchemy meeting finally began. Early in the morning, the Beima family was ready. Bei Mobing personally arranged the departure and took Lin Yu and Yuja Kitami to attend the alchemy meeting. It could be said that Bei Mobing attached great importance to this alchemy meeting. Along the way, he told Lin Yu a lot about the situation in the Elixir King's forest, such as the approximate distribution of some of the herbs needed to refine the inverse marrow reincarnation elixir. Lin Yu also nodded in agreement, although Yuja Kitami had already told him this information. But after all, this was a token of his kindness, so Lin Yu accepted it. Chapter 874. The Alchemy Conference was held at the Alchemy King Tower. The Alchemy King Tower was also the border of the four great clans. By the time Lin Yu and the others arrived, there were already many participants and people from their respective factions gathered there. Standing at the front is the Nangong clan leader, Nangong Zhan, and the deputy clan leader, Nangong Qintian. You've seen Nangong Tian behind them before. Over there is the Shi Ming clan leader, Shi Ming Kuei, and their generation's prodigy, Shi Ming Chuya. Yuja Kitami introduced the people near the Alchemy King Tower to Lin Yu. And over there are people from the Dongxing Dao region, the Hao Tian Emperor, Daoist Ling Bao, and Daoist Grand Supreme. Yuja Kitami looked a little angry when she mentioned Daoist Grand Supreme. She had not forgotten how Daoist Grand Supreme had blocked her path. Yuja Kitami had decided that she would teach Daoist Grand Supreme a painful lesson if she had the chance after entering the Alchemy King Forest. When Lin Yu approached the people from the Dongxing Dao region, he suddenly heard the system's voice. Eternal Host, Lin Yu, an undefeatable enemy has been detected. Automatic time reversal has been activated. Space-time value 8701098892. Lin Yu knew that this notification was sent by the Hao Tian Emperor. After all, he was ranked 5th on the Heaven God list. If there were no surprises, the Supreme Sky Emperor should be the strongest among all the people present. The space-time value was not the real space-time value, but the password to the gathering place of the low-profile sex saintesses. On the other side, Bei Mobing brought Lin Yu and Yuja Kitami to Nangong Zhan's side and greeted him with cupped fists. Clan leader Nangong. Clan leader Bei Mobing is here too. This is? Nangong Zhan replied with a smile. When he noticed Lin Yu standing behind Bei Mobing, a hint of hesitation flashed across his eyes. This young man without any cultivation was actually brought here by Bei Mobing to participate in the Grand Alchemy meeting. Could it be that he was a high-grade alchemist? However, Nangong Zhan searched his mind and did not find any high-level alchemist in the primitive continent that could match it. This is Mr. Qin, the guardian I found for you. I am Qin Wunyan. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Even Nangong Zhan was unable to see through his true identity. It seemed that his disguise was indeed very good. Nangong Zhan was slightly taken aback. Then he looked at Bei Mobing. Miss Beimo, just as Bei Mobing and Nangong Zhan started chatting, Nangong Tian walked over and greeted them. Since Sir Qin is here, you must be Miss Beimo's Dao protector. Yuja Kitami nodded and looked towards Nangong Tian. Standing beside Nangong Tian was a cold-looking young man. Even though everyone was looking at him, he had no intention of speaking. In the end, Nangong Tian introduced, "This is Nangong Tu beside me. He is also my guardian for this grand alchemy meeting." At this moment, a voice was heard from the side. Nangong Tian, I heard that your Nangong family was defeated by Lin Yu from the beginning to the end. Even your clan leader was no match for him. Is that true? Lin Yu looked over and realized that the person was Shi Mingqiuye, whom he had been introduced to previously. Shi Mingqiuye and another young man walked towards them with a smile. They stared at Nangong Tian with a mocking look. Although he was also a genius of this generation of the Shi Ming family, he was still inferior to Nangong Tian. He was happy for a while when he found out that Nangong Tian had lost all his cultivation. However, he did not expect Nangong Tian to have recovered after a few days. Nangong Tian turned around and looked at him coldly. Lin Yu only won by opportunistic means. It's not worth mentioning. You, on the other hand, still dare to provoke me. You! Shi Mingqiuye's face turned pale when he heard that. Nangong Tian was right. He had challenged Nangong Tian more than 10 times over the years, but he had never won. Humph! Shi Mingqiuye snorted and left with his men. However, his words caused a commotion among the people nearby. I heard that Nangong Tian's cultivation was destroyed by the guy who ranked first in the sequence battle. Why does he look fine now? That's what you don't understand. Nangong Tian is the genius of this generation of the Nangong family. He must have used some treasure to recover his cultivation. How powerful is Lin Yu to be able to barge into the Nangong family alone? These people were all from the 4 families and 5 regions. They were not afraid of the Nangong family, so they started chatting with each other. Let's talk later. Nangong Tian looked a little embarrassed. He hurried back after saying that. Mr. Qin, didn't you say that you met Lin Yu once? Yuja Kitami looked very curious. Is he really that powerful? He barged into the Nangong family alone and escaped unscathed. Of course. He's a dragon among men and the most handsome person I've ever seen. I'm not surprised that he could defeat Nangong Tian. Lin Yu said with a serious face. If even young Master Qin says so, then it should be true. A hint of surprise flashed through Beimo Yuer's eyes. A person of the same generation as them was actually so strong. It was terrifying. Qin Wunyan. At this moment, an angry voice was heard. You stupid son-in-law! How dare you plot to injure me? Do you want me, Dongwang Paragon Saint, to be unable to attend the alchemy conference? I couldn't find you anywhere. It turns out that you dared to come here. Dongwang Paragon Saint walked towards Lin Yu fiercely. The people of the Dongwang family behind him also looked unfriendly. The elixir that Lin Yu threw at Dongwang Paragon Saint earlier had seriously injured him. Although the Dongwang family had used a lot of elixirs on him, he had only recovered by less than 50%. The words, son-in-law, immediately attracted the attention of the surrounding people. Dongwang Paragon Saint's face was pale. It was obvious that he had not recovered from his injuries. Immediately, many people turned to look in their direction. Even Nangong Tian and Bei Mobing, who were talking, looked over. Son-in-law? Not only is this guy Yuja Kitami's protector, but he's also her husband? Damn it. Yuja Kitami is such a beauty. There are countless young talents pursuing her. Why would she choose a piece of trash with no cultivation? What do you know? Women value skills. What's the use of having a high cultivation? Bei Mobing was stunned. He was dumbfounded at this moment. Originally, he wanted to use Lin Yu to help his family get a good ranking in the alchemy conference. Now, before he could get a good ranking, he had lost his precious daughter. Father, that's a misunderstanding. Yuja Kitami did not know how to explain. Forget it. Now is not the time to talk about this. Bei Mobing sighed. He could tell from his daughter's tone that she treated him as an outsider. Indeed, a grown girl could not be kept at home. Dongwang Paragon Saint, why did you frame Mr. Qin? He was already merciful that day. He did not injure you at all. Dongwang Paragon Saint had pushed Lin Yu into the teeth of the storm. Yuja Kitami stood out and said coldly. Yuja Kitami did not know that Lin Yu had deliberately dropped the elixir. She thought that Dongwang Paragon Saint wanted to frame him for the first time when he was defeated by Lin Yu. Seeing that Yuja Kitami was once again confronting him because of Lin Yu, Dongwang Paragon Saint felt the fire of jealousy in his heart burning fiercely. Then could it be that my injuries were caused by myself? Yuja Kitami, today your husband must give me an explanation. Otherwise, the Dongwang family will not let you off. Hearing that she directly called Lin Yu her husband. Yuja Kitami was an unmarried girl after all. She could not help but blush and was speechless for a moment. Seeing this, Lin Yu pulled Yuja Kitami behind him and smiled faintly. You said that I schemed to injure you seriously. Do you have any evidence? Evidence? Dongwang Paragon Saint was slightly stunned and then said angrily, of course. An elixir fell out of your pocket. Who knew that the elixir would explode? I was seriously injured because I touched the elixir. Isn't that evidence? Lin Yu looked very calm, without a trace of emotion. That is to say, you were injured because you touched the elixir I dropped, right? Seeing Lin Yu's calm look, Dongwang Paragon Saint became even angrier. Yes. Chapter 875. Are you going to blame me if I put a sword on the ground and you run into it and get stabbed to death? Lin Yu retorted. Dongwang Jisheng was speechless when he heard Lin Yu's words. Moreover, Dongwang Jisheng saw a hint of sarcasm in Lin Yu's eyes, which made his face turn even uglier. The onlookers also understood what had happened and cast disdainful glances at Dongwang Jisheng. It was rare to see someone who could do such a stupid thing. Well, well, well. When we enter the Elixir King Forest, just wait and see. Dongwang Jisheng could only leave these harsh words and then left with the other members of the Dongwang family. Those members of the Dongwang family were also very embarrassed. They were worried that if they did not take Dongwang Jisheng away, he would continue to humiliate the Dongwang family. Dong dong dong. At this time, the sound of a distant bell rang from the Pill King Pagoda. It attracted everyone's attention and they looked up. A light screen appeared in the air in front of the Elixir King Tower. On the light screen was a dense forest. That is the Elixir King Forest. Yuja Kitami stood beside Lin Yu and whispered. Okay. Lin Yu nodded. Seeing the Elixir King Forest, all the competitors in this grand alchemy meeting walked out from the crowd. When the bell rang and the light screen appeared, it meant that they could enter the Elixir King Forest. The first round of the Grand Alchemy meeting was about to begin. The entrance is open. I won't stand on ceremony. A loud laugh was heard and then two Taoists were seen running toward the light screen. They were Taoist Taishang and Taoist Lingbao. The moment the two figures touched the light curtain, they passed through it and appeared in the forest. The competitors of the other forces did not want to be outdone. They used various means to fly into the air and enter the light screen. Lin Yu nodded at Bei Mobing, who was looking at them. Let's go. All right. Lin Yu and Yuja Kitami also flew in front of the light curtain and passed through it without any hindrance. Lin Yu did not feel anything strange, and his whole person had already arrived in the Pill King Forest. At this moment, all the contestants had already scattered in all directions in search of the medicinal herbs they needed. Lin Yu and Beima Yu were headed south according to the information of the medicinal herbs they had obtained before. Fortunately, most of the herbs needed to refine the reverse marrow reincarnation pill were in the southern part of the Pill King Forest. Therefore, the route that the two of them needed to take was not too complicated. As the two of them were flying, Beima Yu suddenly let out a stern shout. Who is it? Two figures slowly walked out from behind a giant tree. Nangong Tian was walking in front. Nangong Tian. Yuja Kitami looked over with a wary expression. Nangong Tian was definitely more powerful than her, and Yuja Kitami was very clear about that. Although she heard that Nangong Tian's cultivation level was crippled and he had regained his cultivation level, Yuja Kitami was not 100% confident that she could defeat him. Moreover, Nangong too did not look like someone to be trifled with. Miss Bei Mobing, don't be so nervous. I don't mean any harm to you. Nangong Tian crossed his arms and said with a smile, I'm here to form an alliance with you. Lin Yu stood at the side and did not say anything. He only came to the Grand Alchemy Conference to reap some benefits, mainly to meet the great Sun Boundless Buddha. As for the matters between the four families, he would leave it to Yuja Kitami to handle. It did not matter to him whether they formed an alliance or not. Alliance? Yuja Kitami said coldly and shook her head. Thank you for your kind intentions, Mr. Nangong, but the pills that we refine are different, so it's more convenient for us to search for the medicinal herbs separately. If they formed an alliance with the Nangong family, they would have an advantage in terms of combat power. However, after forming an alliance, the speed of searching for medicinal herbs would undoubtedly decrease. I know what you're worried about, Miss Bei Mobing. Although we have formed an alliance, we can act separately and only gather when we encounter enemies. Yuja Kitami's reaction was within Nangong Tian's expectations, so he had already thought of an answer. Nangong Tian continued, From what I know, Shi Ming Chuye and Dong Wang Paragon Sage have also formed an alliance. Think about it carefully. Hearing this news, Beima Yu Er's expression finally changed a little. They have formed an alliance. Yuja Kitami frowned. All right, then let's form an alliance too. Yuja Kitami knew that if all the forces acted alone, there was no need for them to form an alliance. Even if they encountered other forces, they could still run away if they could not defeat them. However, now that they had formed an alliance, once there was a conflict, they might face more than two enemies. Seeing that Yuja Kitami agreed, Nangong Tian smiled and threw a jade talisman to her. Take this with you. If you encounter enemies, use this to contact me. I'll do the same. After saying that, Nangong Tian and Nangong Tu left quickly. Mr. Qin. Yuja Kitami held the jade talisman in her hand and turned around to ask, Will there be any problems with forming an alliance with the Nangong family? Lin Yu smiled faintly. We'll act according to the situation. There was something else that Lin Yu did not say. Even if Nangong Tian was planning something bad, it was nothing to him. Nangong Yuer heaved a sigh of relief and the two of them continued to fly towards the south. Not long after, the two of them arrived at the place where the first medicinal herb grew. The first one we need to find is the luminous grass. It grows nearby, so it should be easy to find. Nangong Yuer looked around, but unfortunately, she did not find any trace of the luminous grass. The luminous grass was a relatively common medicinal herb that was needed to refine many types of elixirs. From its name, one could tell that this medicinal herb would emit a blue fluorescent light at night. It was very eye-catching. Unfortunately, it was still daytime, so it was impossible to find the luminous grass by relying on this trick. However, Nangong Yuer was not worried. Since it was not a rare medicinal herb, she would definitely find it if she put her heart into it. The two of them split up. Not long after, Lin Yu found a blue grass in front of him. It's here. Lin Yu called Yuja Kitami, who was still searching at the side, over. Mr. Qin, you're in luck. Yuja Kitami's eyes lit up and she went forward to keep the luminous grass. The amount of luminous grass needed to refine the reverse chakra marrow pill was not large, so one stalk was enough. The next one is the hooked fruit. We still have to head towards the south. Nangong Yuer had already divided the distribution of the medicinal herbs into a route. Following this planned route, they could collect all the medicinal herbs in the shortest time possible. Okay. The two of them immediately moved and continued to fly towards the south. After 2 hours, the two of them had collected most of the medicinal herbs needed to refine the reverse chakra marrow pill. There was still a long time before the end of the first stage of the Grand Alchemy Conference. It was enough for the two of them to find the remaining medicinal herbs one by one. The next one we need to find is the gray shadow flower. This is quite rare, so it should take some time. Yuja Kitami was introducing the next medicinal herb when the jade talisman suddenly sensed something. Chapter 876. Nangong Tian and the rest have sent us a signal. Yuja Kitami turned to look at Linyu as if she was asking for his opinion on whether they should meet up with Nangong Tian and the rest. Let's go and take a look. Linyu nodded. Since they had formed an alliance, even if he didn't care, he had to be a team player. Anyway, there was still some time before the end of the first stage of the alchemy conference, so it wouldn't affect their search for other herbs. Following the guidance of the jade talisman, the two of them flew all the way. Soon, they saw Nangong Tian. However, he wasn't the only one here. There were more than 10 people gathered here. Linyu noticed that Nangong Tu's face was a little pale, and there were some bloodstains on his body. It seemed that these people had fought once before. Now that they were gathered here, they must be fighting for something. What are you guys doing? Yuja Kitami asked Nangong Tian after noticing the situation. There are 3 soul-eating herbs here. Everyone wants them now. Nangong Tian looked at a bush in the middle. Soul-eating herbs. Yuja Kitami's eyes lit up. This herb was also needed in the reverse marrow reincarnation elixir. It was one of the most difficult herbs to find. She didn't expect to see 3 of them here. It wasn't hard to understand why so many people were looking for them. However, it would not be an easy task to snatch the soul-devouring grass under such circumstances. The Ghost Region, Western Region, and Dongxing Precept Region have formed an alliance. The other side is the Shi Ming and Donghuang alliance that I mentioned to you before. Nangong Tian introduced the distribution of the forces present. It turned out that Shi Mingchuye wasn't the only one who had formed an alliance with Donghuang Paragon Sage. There were even 3 forces who had formed an alliance. After Lin Yu and Yuja Kitami arrived, the people present were divided into 3 groups. If you ask me, there are 3 soul-eating herbs in total. Let's split one between each side. Donghuang Paragon Sage said casually and looked very impatient. Donghuang Paragon Sage, are you really stupid or pretending to be stupid? How are we going to split the soul-eating herb? Should we give it to you or Shi Mingchuye? A man surrounded by ghostly qi said coldly. The person who spoke was a participant of the ghost realm, Yen Kuei. Yen Kuei, I think you're asking for a beating. Donghuang Absolute Sage dashed out instantly and threw a punch at Yen Kuei. His actions immediately broke the stalemate, and everyone began to move. Linyu also ran towards the location of the Soul Eater grass, but he was stopped halfway. Your opponent is me. Taoist Numinous Treasure stopped Linyu and let out a strange laugh. Hee hee, I've heard of you. Junior Brother Grand Supreme said that you were the one who saved the young mistress of the Beima family that day. On the other side, Nangong Tian and Nangong Tu were stopped by 2 people from the West region. Miss Beimoi, quickly go and get the soul-devouring grass. Nangong Tian shouted at Yuja Kitami amidst the chaos. Yuja Kitami was startled and immediately rushed towards the soul-eater grass. Seeing this, Linyu frowned slightly. Yuja Kitami's strength was considered top-notch among these people, but at this point in time, the other forces would definitely not allow her to get the soul-devouring grass. If they had fought for a while and everyone was exhausted, it might have been possible. If she went now, she would only become a target for everyone. In the blink of an eye, Beima Yu-er's figure arrived at the bush. Suddenly, a Taoist flashed out from the side. Yuja Kitami, you want to take the soul-devouring grass in this chaos? Dream on. Taoist Taishang waved his hand, and the 10,000 souls seal transformed into a mountain and pressed down on Yuja Kitami. The falling mountain caused ripples in the space and swept over with a huge impact. Boom! At such a close distance, Taoist Taishang had been concealing his aura. Yuja Kitami had no time to dodge and crashed onto the ground. Yuja Kitami's face turned pale, and she spat out a mouthful of blood. She quickly retreated. Nangong Tian's eyes flashed with disappointment when he saw that Yuja Kitami not only failed to get the soul-devouring grass, but was also severely injured. However, he did not have high hopes for Yuja Kitami in the first place. Shiming Choya, Nangong Tian shouted. The two of us will join your alliance now. However, if we can get the soul-devouring grass, I want one. Shiming Choya thought for a while and nodded decisively. All right. Although he was usually in a competitive relationship with Nangong Tian, he was a smart person. He knew that with Nangong Tian's participation, the chances of getting the soul-devouring grass would be higher. I'm sorry, Miss Bei Moi. Nangong Tian smiled at Yuja Kitami and brought Nangong Tu to Shiming Chuya. At this moment, Dongwang Paragon Sage had also exchanged a few blows with Yen Kuei. Neither of them had the upper hand, so they retreated. Nangong Tian. Yuja Kitami frowned and shouted angrily. She was betrayed by Nangong Tian. Seeing that she was severely injured, Nangong Tian ran to the other side without hesitation. Lin Yu had been paying attention to the situation on the field, and was not surprised to see that. He knew very well what kind of person Nangong Tian was. He was a person who only cared about profits and did not care about anything else. This could be seen from the fact that Nangong Tian did not react when Nangong Huang was killed by him in the sequence battle. You bastard, don't ignore me! Seeing that Lin Yu ignored him, Taoist Lingbao's face turned extremely ugly. Heaven Grade 10,000 Souls Seal, Ghost Shadow Butterfly Net. Taoist Lingbao released the 10,000 Souls Seal, and a huge shadow appeared behind him. After the shadow appeared, it immediately locked onto Lin Yu and charged towards him. Feeling the impact, Lin Yu's face turned cold and he waved his hand. The Grim Reaper arrived and shattered Taoist Lingbao's 10,000 Souls Seal shadow. What? Taoist Lingbao's eyes widened in disbelief. His Heaven Grade 10,000 Souls Seal could not even take one hit from Qin Haodong. This was too perverted. Lin Yu did not bother with Taoist Numinous Bao after that move. That move was enough to deal with that attack. Lin Yu flashed to Beimoyur's side and picked her up. Mr. Qin. Seeing what Lin Yu did, Yuja Kitami's pale face turned red. Quiet. Lin Yu said unyieldingly. Yuja Kitami, who was still moving around in his arms, stopped immediately. Lin Yu carried Yuja Kitami calmly and ran away. Qin Wunyan is a calm person. Nangong Tian smiled when he saw what happened. Under such circumstances, it was naturally the best choice for Lin Yu to leave. If he were Lin Yu, he would make the same choice, although he might not take the risk to bring Yuja Kitami with him. When Dongwang Jisheng saw that Yuja Kitami was in Lin Yu's arms with a red face, he gritted his teeth in anger. However, the people from the 3 territories were staring at them and he could not get away. He could only vent all his anger on his opponent. Attack! Once again, the 12 people on the scene began to fight. Lin Yu carried Yuja Kitami and flew for a long time before he finally found a cave. Let's do it here. Chapter 877. After flying into the cave, Lin Yu put Yuja Kitami down. Thank you for saving me, Mr. Qin. Yuja Kitami blushed and said in a sincere voice. In that situation just now, if Lin Yu had abandoned her and ran away alone, she would have ended up in a very miserable state. Lin Yu waved his hand carelessly. Take off the clothes on your shoulders. I'll help you recover first. Yuja Kitami blushed, but she also knew that Lin Yu was a gentleman. Now she was a burden, and almost got him into trouble. Thinking of this, Yuja Kitami no longer cared about the difference between men and women. She took off her clothes and revealed her snow-white shoulders. And those amazing lines. If a man with weak willpower saw them, he might have a nosebleed. But Lin Yu just put his hand on Yuji Kitami's arm and quietly reset time and space. In an instant, nearly 90% of Yuji Kitami's injuries were healed by him. He didn't help her recover completely. In this way, it would be too easy for her to be suspicious. Even though Yuji Kitami was now on the same side as him, Lin Yu still kept a little vigilant. Although Yuji Kitami had experienced the feeling of her injuries being healed instantly once, she still opened her eyes in shock at this moment. And if she didn't feel wrong, the effect of the treatment this time was stronger than before. If nothing went wrong, her injuries would be healed in less than 2 hours. "Thank you, Mr. Chin." After thanking him, Yuji Kitami sat cross-legged and began to heal her injuries. She didn't dare to ask more. She knew that such a magical healing method must be Qin Wunyan's trump card. How could she let others know about it? Yuji Kitami was already very grateful that he helped her heal her injuries. At the same time, on the other side, Shiming Chuye and the others had joined forces to defeat the 3 regions and got the soul-eating grass. However, after this battle, Dong Wangji Sage's face looked even paler. "We can each have one. Speaking of which, those 2 Taoists are very strong." Shiming Chuye distributed the 2 stalks of soul-devouring grass. As the first and second place of the 7th sequence battle, Taoist Numinous Treasure and Taoist Grand Supreme were naturally not to be underestimated. If Nangong Tian hadn't joined in, Shiming Chuye knew that they wouldn't be a match for the 3 regions. "Do we split up like before?" Dong Wang Paragon Sage asked, trying his best to suppress the injuries in his body. Right now, he just wanted to find a quiet place to recuperate. Otherwise, it would be too dangerous to stay here in this state. He could be ambushed at any time. "Yes." Shiming Chuye nodded. "If we encounter any enemies, we'll contact you again." With that, Shiming Chuye left with his protector. "Then I'll leave first, brother Dong Wang." Nangong Tian observed Dong Wang Jisheng, and a glint flashed across his eyes. "All right." Dong Wang Jisheng heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that everyone had left. "How many medicinal herbs are we still missing?" Dong Wang Absolute Saint asked his protector. "There are 3 more, but they aren't very rare." The protector hurriedly replied. Dong Wang Jisheng thought for a while and made a decision. "You go and find those 3 medicinal herbs first. I'll find a place to rest." "Understood." The protector flashed and flew into the distance. He had basically collected all the medicinal herbs. He was just waiting for the second stage of the alchemy meeting to begin. He could take advantage of this time to recuperate. Dong Wang Jisheng thought to himself. He randomly chose a direction to fly in and was ready to find a safe place. Dong Wang Jisheng didn't realize that the direction he chose was the same as Lin Yu. He also didn't realize that not long after he left, a hidden figure followed behind him. With the help of Lin Yu and the continuous consumption of several elixirs, Yuji Kitami had basically recovered completely. "Master Qin, I've recovered. Let's continue to look for medicinal herbs," Yuji Kitami suggested. Since she was no longer injured, there was no point in continuing to stay in this cave. Moreover, after the delay, time was running out. "It's not time yet." Lin Yu smiled faintly and shook his head. "But we still lack 5 kinds of medicinal herbs. According to previous estimates, there are less than 4 hours left in the first stage of the alchemy meeting." Yuji Kitami looked a little anxious and said worriedly, "It's too troublesome for us to look for them. Let's wait until they have collected almost all the medicinal herbs and then enjoy the benefit." Lin Yu looked calm and unhurried. Yuji Kitami didn't know that Lin Yu's plan was to snatch the medicinal herbs from others. Moreover, in order to compete for the medicinal herbs, the people outside would inevitably fight. When the competition was about to end, they would be exhausted. However, she and Lin Yu would be in peak condition. Thinking of this, Yuji Kitami's eyes lit up. Yuji Kitami made a sound of confusion. She seemed to have sensed that someone was approaching. Although the speed was not fast, it happened to be in the direction of this cave. Could it be that there were other participants who wanted to enter this cave too? Lin Yu also sensed the aura that was approaching. Let's go in further. Lin Yu led Yuja Kitami deeper into the cave and leaned against a protruding stone wall. Both of them had concealed their aura just now, so they shouldn't have been detected by the people outside. Nangong Tian, why are you here? The figure outside suddenly stopped, followed by a voice. The person who spoke was Dongwang Jisheng. Lin Yu and Yuja Kitami looked at each other and understood each other's thoughts. What were Dongwang Jisheng and Nangong Tian doing here? Before Yuja Kitami could figure it out, there was a loud sound. Boom! Then, she saw a figure flying in from the entrance of the cave at an extremely fast speed, breaking several stone pillars in succession, and finally smashing into a stone wall. Dongwang Jisheng, you're really not afraid of death. You're so badly injured and you still dare to act alone. Nangong Tian walked in slowly from the entrance of the cave with a cold smile on his face. There was still some Yao Qi on his body, so it was obvious that he was the one who attacked just now. Despicable! Dongwang Jisheng was trembling because of his injuries and sat up slowly. How dare you attack me? Do you want to kill me? Aren't you afraid of starting a war between Dongwang and Nangong? Dongwang Jisheng spat out a mouthful of blood and said fiercely. Who would know that you died in my hands? We're allies, so I won't be suspicious at all. Nangong Tian laughed when he heard Dongwang Jisheng's question. You. Dongwang Jisheng was finally scared when he saw that Nangong Tian had even thought about what would happen after he killed him. We're allies. How about this? I'll give you all the herbs I found as long as you spare me. Dongwang Jisheng's lips trembled and a pleading look appeared on his face. His current physical condition couldn't support him to fight anymore. Even the chance of escaping was very slim. Moreover, the person in front of him was Nangong Tian. If Nangong Tian really wanted to kill him, he would die. You're thinking too much. Nangong Tian appeared in front of Dongwang Jisheng in a flash. He raised his right hand and his 5 fingers formed a claw. An extremely terrifying suction force suddenly burst forth. It was the superpower of the Nangong family, devouring the starry sky. Dongwang Jisheng was horrified when he was sucked over by the powerful suction force. At this moment, Nangong Tian seemed to have turned into a huge whirlpool and a gust of wind swept through the cave. Suck him dry. Nangong Tian's lips curled into a cold smile as he watched Dongwang Jisheng's cultivation burst out of his body. No. Dongwang Jisheng shouted in horror. As a member of the 4 big families, he had naturally heard of the horror of devouring the starry sky. Chapter 878. Those who were hit by the swallowing starry sky lost all their cultivation in the end. After that, they could only be like fish on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. As for Nangong Tian, since he had already decided to take action, how could he change his mind just because of a few words from Dongwang Ji sage? Streams of pure cultivation were continuously absorbed into Nangong Tian's body. On the other hand, Dongwang Ji sage's aura kept dropping. After a dozen breaths, Dongwang Ji sage had become a useless person without any cultivation. Nangong Tian, you treacherous bastard, you will die a horrible death. Looking at Dongwang Ji sage, who kept cursing him, Nangong Tian sneered and waved his hand to release a beam of golden light. Under the beam of golden light, Dongwang Ji sage's entire body was shattered into pieces, leaving no trace of his existence. After dealing with Dongwang Ji sage, Nangong Tian raised his head and his gaze froze. Who are you? In the next moment, 2 people appeared in front of him out of thin air. They were Lin Yu and Yuja Kitami. Mr. Nangong, how dare you murder your ally? Beima Yuer said aloud, her face full of ridicule. Nangong Tian betrayed them at the last minute and attacked their current allies, destroying their corpses and destroying all evidence. Yuja Kitami was disgusted by his actions from the bottom of her heart. Since the two of you have seen it. Nangong Tian looked ferocious. Then stay here and accompany Dong Huangji Sage, so that he won't be so lonely on his way to the netherworld. Seeing the ferocious look in Nangong Tian's eyes, Yuja Kitami's heart skipped a beat and she immediately got into a defensive posture. She knew that Nangong Tian wouldn't just leave it at that. As expected, as soon as Nangong Tian finished speaking, he raised his right hand towards the two of them. Once again, there was a terrifying suction force in the cave. The swallowing starry sky. This time, Nangong Tian targeted Lin Yu and Yuja Kitami. They felt that the suction force was obviously more than 10 times stronger than before. The 10,000 soul seal on Yuja Kitami's forehead lit up. She was about to activate the seal to attack Nangong Tian. However, a figure flashed past her eyes. It was Lin Yu who dashed towards Nangong Tian. "Mr. Qin, don't!" Beimo Yuer shouted worriedly. She thought that Lin Yu did not know what Nangong Tian was going to do, which was why he rushed forward recklessly and wanted to fight him in close combat. The swallowing starry sky, the swallowing starry sky, the suction force, the suction force. Nangong Tian sneered when he saw Lin Yu approaching. Die! Nangong Tian clenched his fist, and the suction force increased. He controlled the force and grabbed at Lin Yu's figure. In the face of that powerful suction force, Lin Yu still had a calm look on his face. The second time, Lin Yu smiled and said something that Nangong Tian didn't understand. However, Nangong Tian was shocked by what he saw next. Lin Yu raised his hand, and a powerful aura was released from his hand. The aura was exactly the same as the swallowing starry sky. How is that possible? Why do you know the swallowing starry sky? Nangong Tian opened his eyes wide and asked in disbelief. Suddenly, a figure flashed past his mind. The only person he knew who didn't belong to the Nangong family and had the swallowing starry sky was Lin Yu. Before Nangong Tian could say his guess, he realized that the cyclone that he formed by the swallowing starry sky was being compressed. 100 feet, 500 feet, 200 feet. Nangong Tian's face turned pale and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His swallowing starry sky was forced back into his body by Lin Yu's swallowing starry sky. What happened next was that his cultivation was being sucked out of his body and flowing towards Lin Yu. After a while, Nangong Tian became a useless person with no cultivation, just like Dong Huang Paragon Sage. It's you, it's you. Nangong Tian was trapped in the air by the sup. However, no matter how hard he struggled, he couldn't move at all. He couldn't resist the sup of the swallowing starry sky, even when he had cultivation. Struggling now was just a waste of time. I'll take your things. Lin Yu came to Nangong Tian's side in a flash. With a flash of his hands, Nangong Tian and Dong Huang Paragon Sage's storage rings were all in his hands. Lin Yu waved his palm, and the 5 elements print palm turned into a fierce attack and attacked Nangong Tian. Before Nangong Tian had the chance to expose his identity, Nangong Tian's expression froze and he lost his breath. Lin Yu didn't kill Nangong Tian last time because he still had some use for him. This time, Lin Yu had no reason to spare his life. The entire process only took a few breaths from Lin Yu's attack to the end. Nangong Tian, the supreme talent of the Nangong family, died just like that. Beimo Yuer's beautiful eyes widened in disbelief at the scene before her. When Lin Yu defeated Dong Huang Paragon Sage with one move, she knew that Lin Yu's combat power was very strong. However, she didn't expect him to be this powerful. It was terrifying. You killed Nangong Tian. After a moment of surprise, a trace of worry appeared on Beimo Yuer's face. Yes. Lin Yu walked back and nodded. There wasn't any fluctuation in his body at all. It was as if he had just killed an ant. Yuja Kitami felt that this man was unfathomable. But the Nangong family. Yuja Kitami wanted to say something but stopped. Lin Yu immediately understood what she was thinking. Only you and I know about this. Are you going to tell anyone else? Lin Yu stared at her and asked with a half-smile. Yuja Kitami became agitated. Of course not. Even if it's my father, I won't tell him anything about this. Very good. Lin Yu smiled faintly. He waved his hand and turned Nangong Tian's body into ashes. The problem of the herbs is solved too. Lin Yu took out a few herbs from the storage rings that he had looted. This is the soul-eating grass and the dragon snake leaf. We have all the 5 herbs that we lack. Yuja Kitami was overjoyed when she saw the herbs in Lin Yu's hands. In this way, they had all the herbs to refine the reverse marrow reincarnation elixir. The rest would depend on her performance in the second stage. Chapter 879. At this time, a few loud noises came from outside the cave, followed by the roar of a monster. Lin Yu and Yuja Kitami looked at each other, nodded, and walked out of the cave. After walking out of the cave, Lin Yu immediately saw a sandstorm in the distance, and in the middle of the sandstorm, there was a huge monster beast. What a strong aura! Seeing the demonic beast, Beimayur exclaimed in shock. Although it was a little far away, they could feel that the monster's aura had reached the peak of the myriad spirit realm and was only one step away from advancing. Let's go take a look. Lin Yu smiled faintly, but he had already made up his mind. Lin Yuan and Lin Xiu were still in the first realm of the myriad spirit realm and needed the myriad spirit seal to break through. The 3 myriad spirit seals that Yuja Kitami found for them were not of high quality, which led to their failure to break through. If the monster in front of them could condense the myriad spirit seal, its quality would definitely be extraordinary. This way, they would have a chance to break through. Okay. The 2 of them flew in the direction of the monster. At the same time, in the forest near the monster, a few people were sneakily looking at the monster in the air. Brother Lingbao, are you sure that this monster will find trouble with the people of the 4 great families? Subhoodie of Dong Xing Taoist frowned and asked. Taoist Lingbao, who had fought with Lin Yu before, was now happy. Of course. Taoist Lingbao said with certainty. A senior told me that this monster has been sealed in the Dan King Forest. After it is released, as long as it hides in this place, there will be no problem with its safety. As for the others outside, Taoist Lingbao laughed and did not finish his words. But the others understood the meaning of his words at this moment. The place where they were was a barrier. Although they could enter and leave at will, the monster seemed to be very afraid of this barrier and did not dare to come close. Now that the monster was causing trouble outside, they were safe, but the people outside the barrier were not. Taoist Taishang suddenly exclaimed in surprise. Senior brother, what's wrong with you? Several people cast a puzzled look at him. Look over there. Taoist Taishang raised his hand and pointed to the sky. Everyone looked in the direction he was pointing and their pupils shrank. F***CK. Did I see wrongly? That person actually took the initiative to look for a demonic beast. Is he an idiot? Impressive, impressive. Could it be that he wants to compete with that demonic beast? Taoist Grand Supreme and Taoist Numinous Treasure looked at each other. They could clearly see who was flying in the air. It was none other than Lin Yu, who had previously caused both of them to suffer a loss. Quiet. Let's see what he plans to do. Taoist Numinous Treasure called out to stop them. Everyone shut their mouths and looked at the figure in the sky. Lin Yu looked at the approaching demonic beast and smiled faintly. In his eyes, this demonic beast was like a 10,000 souls seal that had delivered itself to his doorstep. Naturally, he would not let it go. As for Yuja Kitami, he had arranged for her to stay on the ground. He alone was enough to deal with a 10,000 souls realm demonic beast. That demonic beast also noticed Lin Yu's aura and immediately let out a deafening roar. Under its roar, the entire forest seemed to tremble. This demonic beast had been sealed in the Pill King forest for too long. It had been so long that it had completely lost its rationality and could only act based on the desires of a beast. The roar caused ripples in the air and spread out into the distance. However, when the sound wave spread to Lin Yu's body, it did not even move his hair. The demonic beast's scarlet eyes locked onto Lin Yu and flew towards him. It seemed like it wanted to smash him into pieces in the air. Idiot! Lin Yu raised his hand expressionlessly and aimed at the approaching demonic beast. 500 feet. 300 feet. 300 feet. The demonic beast was very fast and was about to reach Lin Yu. At this moment, a huge demonic shadow rose behind Lin Yu. Azura! Facing the demonic beast flying towards him, Azura suddenly waved his arm and hit the demonic beast's head. Kacha! With the sound of bones cracking, the demonic beast let out a painful wail. Obviously, under Azura's punch just now, the demonic beast's skull had been shattered. Without waiting for the demonic beast to recover, Azura threw out more than 10 punches in an instant. Azura's movements turned into afterimages and made sounds of breaking through the air. The wail gradually became softer and the demonic beast's aura also disappeared. Everyone who was hiding in the enchantment looked at this scene with their mouths agape. It was difficult for them to defeat this demon beast even if they joined forces, but it couldn't even last a few breaths in the hands of Lin Yu. How terrifying! A hint of fear appeared on everyone's faces. On Lin Yu's side, after taking care of the demonic beast's life, he immediately used its corpse to start condensing. After more than 10 breaths, a golden 10,000 souls seal floated out of the corpse. Not bad. Lin Yu smiled faintly. The demonic beast just now was a beast, and under his condensing, it successfully became a 10,000 souls seal. Moreover, because this demonic beast's grade was extremely high, it was only a little bit away from stepping into the Spirit King realm. It could be said to be a half step into the Spirit King realm. Therefore, the 10,000 souls seal condensed from it was a heaven-grade 10,000 souls seal. Lin Yu put away the 10,000 souls seal and prepared to give it to Lin Yuan and the others when he returned. At this time, a bell sound came from the sky, exactly the same as what he heard before. Dong dong dong. Lin Yu descended and returned to Yuja Kitami's side. The second stage of the alchemy conference is about to begin. Yuja Kitami said excitedly. Now that they had collected all the herbs, they only had to refine the elixir. The reverse marrow reincarnation elixir that she was going to refine was the best among the 7th grade elixirs. As long as no one could refine an 8th grade elixir, they were basically in the bag this time. Okay. Lin Yu smiled faintly, and the two of them rushed to the place where they first entered the Elixir King forest. From the outside world, they could see the scene in that area through the light screen. Therefore, in every alchemy conference, the final location for refining the elixir would be there. When the two of them arrived at the entrance of the forest, they realized that many people had already arrived. Lin Yu glanced around and realized that everyone from the 5 regions had arrived, but there were fewer people from the 4 major families. Not to mention Nangong Tian and Donghuang Zhixing, who already knew about the situation. The protector of Donghuang Zhixing was not here either. Lin Yu did not know if he was late or if something had happened. After 15 minutes, the second stage of the alchemy conference began. Along with a few bell sounds, all the participants prepared their elixir furnaces and collected herbs and started refining the elixir. The protector of Donghuang Zhixing did not appear, so he must have met with an accident. As for Nangong too, he stood nearby with an ugly expression. Previously, Nangong Tian had asked him to collect a particular type of herb, so he did it without thinking too much. Although he was Nangong Tian's protector, Nangong Tian's combat power was the highest among all the participants, so he did not expect anything to happen to Nangong Tian. However, now that the refining of the elixir had begun, Nangong Tian was nowhere to be seen. If anything happened to Nangong Tian, the clan leader would definitely not let him off easily. Nangong Tu's heart was shrouded in a haze. Chapter 880. On the other side, Yuja Kitami looked at Lin Yu after preparing all the herbs she needed. "I'm going to start." Lin Yu nodded. A deep flame rose from the cauldron in front of Beimo Yu. Suddenly, a wave of heat was emitted from the pill furnace. After the flame was stable, Yuja Kitami placed the herbs beside her into the pill furnace one by one. Lin Yu, on the other hand, stood indifferently beside Beimo Yu, protecting her. The Guardian's job was to help the alchemists gather the herbs for the first stage of the Grand Alchemy Conference, and also to ensure the safety of the alchemists during the process. Ordinary alchemists would have to devote all their attention to the pill furnace during the process of refining the pills. They would have to pay attention to the changes in the pill furnace at all times. It was very difficult for them to divert their attention to the outside world, and it was very easy for them to be ambushed. At this time, they would need the Guardian's help. Under the heat wave emitted by the pill furnace, Yuja Kitami's forehead was covered in sparkling sweat. Bang! The sound of the herbs being burned and exploding came from the pill furnace. Yuja Kitami's face tightened, and she hurriedly controlled the flame to change the intensity of the burning. After that, there were two small accidents, which were resolved by Yuja Kitami's superb alchemy skills. 70%, 80%. Lin Yu looked at the reverse marrow reincarnation pill that was gradually solidifying in the pill furnace and nodded slightly. He knew that Yuja Kitami had succeeded in refining the pill this time. Refining the reverse marrow reincarnation pill required a certain level of alchemy skills. This was because there were some herbs that were not easy to process. It was very easy for some small accidents to happen during the refining process. As it was a problem with the herbs, even the most skilled alchemists could not avoid this problem. Therefore, at this time, the alchemists had to rely on their own alchemy skills to resolve it. Obviously, Yuja Kitami's alchemy skills were very good. Every accident that could cause failure was resolved by her ingenious skills. At this time, a burst of pill fragrance came from nearby. Lin Yu turned his head to look and discovered that the alchemist representing the ghost realm, Yen Kuei, had already refined a pill. A 6th grade pill. Lin Yu glanced at it for a moment before retracting his gaze. For them, there was no possibility of competing for a 6th grade pill. After that, 2 more 6th grade pills appeared consecutively, but they were all ignored by Lin Yu. Just as the pills in Yuja Kitami's pill furnace were about to solidify, 2 more pills were refined. They were Western Domain's Subhoodie and Western Dark Clan's Western Dark Autumn Leaf. Heaven Extreme Soul Condensing Pill, 9 Magnificence Jade Exquisite Pill. Lin Yu recognized these 2 pills with a single glance. After obtaining the Pill King's encyclopedia, he had already grasped all the information regarding pills in his heart. These 2 pills were both Tier 7 pills, and their quality was not low even among Tier 7 pills. The effect of the Heaven Extreme Soul Condensing Pill was to greatly increase the strength of the soul, but only the first pill would have an effect. The 9 Magnificence Jade Exquisite Pill was a kind of healing pill, which could increase the body's original recovery speed by many times in an instant without any burden on the body. The effects of these 2 pills sounded very powerful, but compared to the reverse marrow reincarnation pill, there was still a clear gap in quality. Lin Yu's gaze landed on the Dongxing Taoist sect and frowned slightly. The Dongxing Taoist sect's alchemist was Daoist Lingbao, and the only ones left were him and Yuja Kitami, who had not finished refining pills. And the pills he refined at this time, Lin Yu suddenly felt that the temperature around him was slowly dropping. When Lin Yu turned his head, he happened to meet Yuja Kitami's bright eyes. "The pill is done," Yuja Kitami said with a look of surprise. Although she had successfully refined the reverse marrow reincarnation pill before, there was a success rate after all, and there was no guarantee that she would succeed every time. Moreover, the reverse marrow reincarnation pill was extremely difficult to refine. Well done. Lin Yu patted Yuja Kitami's shoulder, indicating that she should rest for a while. The rest of the contestants also noticed the reverse marrow reincarnation pill in Yuja Kitami's hand, and were all shocked. They all knew that with this reverse marrow reincarnation pill, Yuja Kitami could surpass all of them. Even Subhuti and Shiming Chuya, who had refined Tier 7 pills, knew that although the pills in their hands were also Tier 7 pills, they were still inferior to Yuja Kitami. Everyone's gaze landed on Taoist Lingbao. If he had refined an ordinary Tier 7 or Tier 6 pill, then the champion of this alchemy conference would have been Yuja Kitami. Suddenly, there was a breeze in the air. Did you guys feel it? There's a sudden breeze. That's strange. I heard that the Elixir King Forest has never had a gust of wind before. What's going on today? Could this be a vision of heaven and earth? When a Tier 8 pill comes out of the furnace, there will be a vision of heaven and earth. Lin Yu looked at the vision in the air calmly. When Taoist Lingbao was refining, he could already tell what pill he was going to refine. A rich pill fragrance spread from the furnace in front of Taoist Lingbao. Taoist Lingbao gradually retracted the flames and took out the pill. Tier 8 pill. Juku spiritual primary pill. The moment the pill was taken out, it caused a wave of shock. While they were still working hard for a Tier 7 pill, Taoist Lingbao was already able to refine a Tier 8 pill. Yuja Kitami originally thought that she had already won by refining the reverse marrow reincarnation pill. When she saw this scene, she was instantly disappointed. Give me the pill. Lin Yu extended his hand to Yuja Kitami. Ah! Yuja Kitami was a little puzzled, but she still obediently placed the reverse marrow reincarnation pill in Lin Yu's hand. In the end, she realized that after Lin Yu took the reverse marrow reincarnation pill, he crushed it with 2 fingers. Young Master Qin. Yuja Kitami was very puzzled. Although they did not get first place with the reverse marrow reincarnation pill, they could at least get second place. Now that the reverse marrow reincarnation pill was destroyed, it could not be recorded in the results this time. However, this was the result that Lin Yu wanted. If they did not get first place, they would not be able to enter the Elixir King Pagoda. What was the use of a record? Lin Yu sat cross-legged in front of the furnace and smiled faintly. He did not explain further. When the others saw the Tier 8 pill, they knew that the first place would definitely belong to the Dongsheng Dao domain. They all looked at Yuja Kitami. They wanted to see how Yuja Kitami would be embarrassed under such circumstances. However, they were puzzled to find that Lin Yu had replaced Yuja Kitami in front of the furnace. Judging from his posture, it seemed that he was preparing to refine the pill. Just when everyone was puzzled, Lin Yu directly crushed the furnace in front of him. Is this kid giving up on himself? I thought he was going to refine the pill. It turns out that he was so angry that he smashed the furnace. The crowd kept mocking him. Even Yuja Kitami looked desperate at this moment. How could he refine the pill without the furnace? However, in the next moment, he saw a flame burning in Lin Yu's hand. The flame was divided into 2 colors, 3 colors, 5 colors, 9 colors. In the next moment, another color burned. It was a 10-colored flame. The strongest flame in the Sky Desert universe was summoned by Lin Yu. At the same time, the Emperor fire left behind by the Medicine Emperor merged with the 10-colored flame at the same time. An 11-colored flame. Yuja Kitami was so frightened that she took a few steps back. Her eyes widened as she stared at the 11-colored flame. This was the first time she had felt such a violent flame. Looking at Lin Yu's posture, she wondered if he was going to use this flame to refine the pill. There is no furnace that can handle 11-colored flame, so there is no need for one. Lin Yu's lips curled. Countless herbs suddenly rose into the air and rushed into the flame. Bang! 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 Refining pills without a furnace? Is this brat dreaming? Even the strongest alchemist of the primitive continent can't refine pills like this. The flame seems to be extremely violent. Will it burn the herbs to ashes? Who cares? Young people are impatient and only know how to show off. Just wait to be eliminated. Everyone was convinced that Lin Yu was really going to refine the pill. However, without a furnace and with only a violent flame, no one was optimistic about Lin Yu's chances. He's just bluffing, haha. Daoist Ling Bao and Daoist Taishang looked at Lin Yu with disdain. They had successfully refined an 8th grade pill. Could Lin Yu refine a better pill than them? Go for it. Yuja Kitami understood Lin Yu's plan. For some reason, Yuja Kitami's intuition told her that Lin Yu could succeed in this seemingly impossible task. She didn't know how many times Lin Yu had surprised her since he appeared. Would there be another miracle this time? Chapter 881. In front of Lin Yu, countless herbs rushed into the flames and were immediately refined into drops of medicinal liquid that condensed into a pill. These precious herbs could not even last a breath in front of an 11-colored flame. This scene once again refreshed everyone's understanding of alchemy. Alchemy could be done this way. Outside the Elixir King Forest, Bei Mobing was delighted. When he saw Daoist Numinous Treasure refine an 8th grade pill, he thought that Lin Yu's group was bound to lose. Now, it seemed that the outcome was uncertain. As the herbs were refined into medicinal liquid, the pill in the 11-colored flame had basically taken shape. Everyone stared at this scene with their mouths agape. The refinement had just begun. How could the pill have already taken shape? And those herbs, how could they be refined into medicinal liquids so easily? The higher the grade and the rarer the herbs, the harder it was to refine them. It was common for a cauldron of pills to take a few hours to refine. Haha, a high-grade pill can't take shape so quickly. This guy must have deliberately refined a low-grade pill to impress the crowd. Daoist Grand Supreme said with a look of disbelief. At this moment there was a sudden clap of thunder, followed by countless bolts of lightning that appeared out of nowhere in the sky. Kue kue. The sky was still clear, but these bolts of lightning showed no signs of dissipating. Daoist Grand Supreme's mocking words were stuck in his throat as his face twitched. What he had said just now was laughable in the face of such a heavenly phenomenon. F*ck, a heavenly phenomenon. It has to be at least an 8th grade pill to attract it. It can't be. It's only been a while, and he's already refined an 8th grade pill. This heavenly phenomenon is far more powerful than the one from the Dongxing Dao domain. Then the pill's quality is... Shock appeared on everyone's faces as they stared fixedly at the pill in the 11-colored flame. Junior brother, we can't give him another chance. Daoist Numinous Treasure's eyes flashed fiercely. If this goes on, we won't be able to keep our first place. Daoist Grand Supreme immediately understood what he meant. He wanted to interfere with Lin Yu, who was concentrating on refining pills. Even if the first stage of the Grand Alchemy Conference was over, the competitors could still attack each other. At this time, he had to rely on the protection of a Dao protector to be able to refine pills in peace. Junior brother, do it! Alright. The two of them immediately dashed toward Lin Yu. Furthermore, he had summoned the 10,000 souls seal the moment he attacked, intending to kill Lin Yu in one fell swoop. Heaven Grade 10,000 Souls Seal, One-Eyed Mountain Demon. Heaven Grade 10,000 Souls Seal, Demon Shadow Butterfly Net. One mountain and one shadow smashed towards Lin Yu, bringing with it a powerful impact. At this moment, Lin Yu still had his eyes closed. It was as if he had put all of his divine sense into alchemy and was unable to sense what was happening in the outside world. You're dead this time. Daoist Numinous Treasure stared fixedly at Lin Yu and let out a cold laugh. Yuja Kitami was shocked when she sensed the approaching aura. Shameless! Yuja Kitami instantly summons the five-colored phoenix and rushes towards the mountain demon. At the same time, she darts in front of the other shadow and crosses her arms to block the shadow's punch. Following a loud bang, a powerful shockwave surged from where they exchanged blows. The shockwave pushed towards the surroundings, snapping several gigantic trees with a diameter of more than 10 meters. Everyone looked at Linyu, unsure if he would be able to divert his attention to block the attack. Yuja Kitami also turned her head worriedly. Although it's a pity that the sneak attack didn't succeed, that pill is definitely going to be wasted. Taoist Grand Supreme's lips curled into a cold smile, as if he could foresee the outcome of the pill. However, what happened next shocked everyone. The violent blast swept over Linyu, but the latter's body did not change at all. Linyu's eyes were still closed and the pill in the 11-colored flame was not affected in any way. The shockwave that was strong enough to snap gigantic trees was like a gentle breeze to Linyu. What? Taoist Numinous Treasure's eyes widened in disbelief. Linyu was clearly focused on refining the pill, but why wasn't he injured at all? As long as he was slightly affected, the pill would definitely be destroyed. At this moment, the thunder suddenly stopped and the lightning that filled the sky dissipated. Linyu slowly opened his eyes and smiled faintly. A 9-colored pill floated in front of him, emitting an intoxicating pill fragrance. Everyone present was at least an expert in the 10,000 soul realm, but they still felt their minds tremble in the face of this pill fragrance. What a powerful attraction! What grade of pill is this? I think the champion of this alchemy conference will definitely be the Baima family. I can't accept this. If I had such a Tao protector, I would also be number 1. A ranking board suddenly appeared in the sky with the following words printed on it. First place, Baima family. Second place, Dongxing Dao domain. Third place, Shiming family. Everyone nodded when they saw the ranking. First place was indeed Linyu. With the heaven and earth phenomenon he attracted, it would be strange if he wasn't first place. They just didn't know what the pill he refined was called and what grade it was. Several alchemists present had the thought of becoming Lin Yu's disciple. Seeing Lin Yu refine pills as easily as drinking water, they were simply too envious. Consider yourself lucky. Taoist Numinous Treasure snorted and put away the 10,000 soul seal with Taoist Grand Supreme and turned to leave. Since the ranking was already out, there was no point in continuing the fight. Linyu calmly watched the two of them leave with an unperturbed look. Although he was refining pills earlier, he did not use all of his concentration. He was very clear of what was happening outside. Taoist Numinous Treasure and Taoist Grand Supreme's sneak attack was blocked by Yuja Kitami. Even if she did not block it, she still could not injure him. Young Master Qin. Yuja Kitami ran to his side. You are simply too powerful. But that blast didn't injure you, right? Of course not. Linyu smiled faintly and instantly vanished from his spot. Young Master Qin? Yuja Kitami was taken aback as she hurriedly looked around for Linyu. At that moment, everyone felt a terrifying aura appear. They looked over in shock. Lin Yu's figure suddenly appeared behind Taoist Numinous Treasure and Taoist Grand Supreme. Since you have taken action, you have to pay the price. Lin Yu smirked as he conjured 8 sword chi with both hands. These 8 sword chi severed all the tendons in Taoist Numinous Treasure and Taoist Grand Supreme's arms and legs. Just as the two of them felt the aura behind them, before they could turn around, they felt excruciating pain. Only then did they realize that their tendons were severed. How dare you! Taoist Numinous Treasure fell to the ground and shouted loudly. But before he could finish his sentence, he saw a sword chi coming at him. It constantly enlarged in his eyes before he lost consciousness. At the same time, Taoist Grand Supreme was similarly finished off by a sword chi. Chapter 882. Everyone looked at Lin Yu in shock. They did not expect that he would dare to kill the two people from the Dongxing Dao domain. The strongest person in the Dongxing Dao domain, the Haotian Emperor, was waiting outside the Elixir King forest. Wasn't he courting death? Lin Yu ignored everyone's gazes and walked to Yuji Kitami's side. Let's go. Only then did Beima Yuer come back to his senses and nod. Okay. Although she was surprised that Lin Yu killed the two people from the Dongxing Dao domain, Yuji Kitami reacted quickly. Lin Yu must have thought it through before doing so. It was definitely not a momentary act of bravery. After all, from what Lin Yu had done before, Yuji Kitami could see that this man's strength was definitely not just his strength. There was also his unfathomable strategy. Seeing Lin Yu calmly flying to the light screen, everyone trembled. Everyone felt a chill run down their spines. This person was simply too terrifying. They had to be careful not to offend him in the future. This person dared to kill the people from the Dongxing Dao domain under the Haotian Emperor's nose. He was simply a madman. Lin Yu passed through the light screen and returned to the Elixir King Pagoda. He immediately felt that the entire place was silent. Everyone's eyes were on him. Some disciples of the forces even cast pitiful gazes at Lin Yu. Although Lin Yu won first place in the alchemy conference, how could the Haotian Emperor let him off after killing the two Taoists? Lin Yu looked at the Haotian Emperor calmly. Although the Haotian Emperor was expressionless, the violent aura that constantly emitted from his body showed how angry he was. A life for a life. The Haotian Emperor raised his right hand and said coldly. At that moment, a few figures suddenly walked in front of Lin Yu. They were the clan leaders of the four great clans. What is the meaning of this? This kid killed my people. He must pay with his life. The Haotian Emperor narrowed his eyes and revealed a murderous look. Although Taoist Numinous Treasure and Taoist Grand Supreme were not his disciples, they were still from the Eastern Victory Dao domain. They represented the Eastern Victory Dao domain. If these two people were killed today and he didn't punish the murderer, who would look up to him in the future? All of us clearly saw that it was your people from the Dongxing Dao domain who launched a sneak attack while Master Qin was refining pills. Master Qin was just giving you a taste of your own medicine. The first person to speak was Nangong Zhan, followed by the other patriarchs. Brother Nangong is right. This time, you can only blame the disciples of the Dongxing Dao domain for harboring evil intentions. When they saw that Master Qin's alchemy skills were high, they interfered. The matters of the younger generation should be settled by themselves. You are an expert on the Heavenly God ranking, yet you are making a move to deal with a junior. Can you be any more shameless? If you want to touch Master Qin, you'll have to get through us first. Seeing the four patriarchs speaking up for Lin Yu, not only were the surrounding onlookers stunned, but even Emperor Hao Tian was stunned. However, he immediately understood what the four major families were planning. This group of old foxes had taken a fancy to Qin Wunyan's talent in alchemy. Very well. Emperor Hao Tian's expression was ugly. He waved his hand and left with his people. He knew that the four of them were protecting Lin Yu. Even he couldn't do anything about it. The crowd who came out of the Elixir King forest later were stunned when they saw the scene. They thought that they would see Lin Yu's corpse when they came out. However, nothing happened to Lin Yu. Instead, Emperor Hao Tian left in a huff. What was going on? Qin Wunyan thanks all the patriarchs. Lin Yu cupped his fists and smiled faintly. You're welcome. Nangong Zhan waved his hand. Young Master Qin's alchemy skills are really admirable. If young Master Qin thinks highly of me, you can come to my Nangong family to be an honorary elder. As soon as these words came out, everyone present was shocked. The honorary elder of the Nangong family was the highest position except for the patriarch and the highest elder. Nangong Zhan actually used this position to recruit Lin Yu. The Nangong family has never had such a young honorary elder. The status of an honorary elder is higher than that of an ordinary elder. It's more than high status. Do you know how much the annual salary of an honorary elder of the Nangong family is? You'll be scared to death if you know it. I'm jealous. Look at him. I feel that I've lived for more than 20 years in vain. However, what happened next shocked them even more. As soon as Nangong Zhan finished speaking, Shiming Chuye and Dong Wang Wu rushed to say, "Young Master Qin is really a dragon among men. Our Shiming family is also willing to make you an honorary elder. Young Master Qin, the door of the Dongwang family is always open to you. Moreover, my daughter is just 20 years old this year and has not been engaged. The whole primitive continent knows how beautiful my daughter is." Bei Mobing was originally calm, but when she heard these words, she immediately jumped up. "Shut up, shut up. Wunyan is my son-in-law. You is already engaged to him. Can you old guys not be so shameless?" Seeing these clan leaders, who were usually as calm as mountains, quarreling over Lin Yu, their faces turned red. Everyone felt as if they were dreaming. Hearing Bei Mobing's words, Yuja Kitami's pretty face instantly turned red. "Father!" Bei Mo Yu shyly lowered her head, and this little girl's appearance caused the younger generation to stare straight at her. Clan leaders. Lin Yu's voice attracted everyone's attention. Qin Wunyan should stay in the Beima family. Hearing this, Bei Mobing immediately smiled from ear to ear. Although the other three clan leaders were rejected by Lin Yu, they also had smiles on their faces and were not angry at all. After all, they really did not think that they could poach Lin Yu from the Beima family. There was not much difference between the four great clans. What they could give, the Beima family could naturally give as well. The reason why they had acted together to intimidate Emperor Haotian was that they had taken a fancy to Lin Yu's potential. He could refine an 8th-grade pill at such a young age and attract such a huge phenomenon. Furthermore, he had used the extremely rare cauldron-less pill refinement technique. In a few decades, it was very likely that he would be the new elixir king. This was also because they did not know enough about alchemy. If they knew that the pill Lin Yu had just refined was already a 9th-grade pill, even if they had to take out the position of Grand Elder and offer a sky-high salary, they would still pull Lin Yu into their family no matter what. "Alright, but please take care of us in terms of pills in the future, young Master Qin." The three patriarchs chuckled as they spoke. Lin Yu nodded. The reason why he had dared to kill Taoist Numinous Bao and Taoist Grand Supreme was because he had considered this situation. As for why Lin Yu was so sure that the clan leaders of the four great clans would protect him, there were two reasons. First, although he belonged to the Beima family, in the eyes of the clan leaders, he was first and foremost a person of the primitive continent. When facing the Dong Xing Dao territory, they would naturally help him. Second, every clan leader was worried that if they did not help, Lin Yu would bear a grudge. When Lin Yu really became the elixir king in a few decades, the four great clans might become the three great clans. At this moment, a few bell sounds suddenly came from the Pill King Pagoda. Dong, dong, dong. Following that, an ancient door appeared above the Pill King Pagoda. Lin Yu smiled faintly, knowing that the final juncture had arrived. "Let's go." Yuja Kitami followed behind Lin Yu, her face still a little red. Clearly, the embarrassment from earlier had not faded. Chapter 883. As the two entered the Pill King Pagoda, the people outside also began to discuss. "Young Master Qin is so powerful, I don't know which floor he can reach." He is indeed powerful, but he definitely can't reach the top floor. No one has ever reached the 7th floor of the Pill King Pagoda in so many years. I think he can only reach the 5th floor. The only Grandmaster who has reached the 6th floor before, if he was not killed in the Happy Red Courtyard, he would have already become a Pill King. Young Master Qin is still a bit lacking. Lin Yu didn't know what the people outside were thinking about him, and even if he knew, he wouldn't care. After entering the Pill King Pagoda, what appeared in front of him were rows of bookshelves, and on top of them were countless pill recipes. The first floor of the Pill King Pagoda is filled with some low-level pill recipes, which are of little significance to us. Yuja Kitami introduced. It seems that she didn't want to waste too much time on the first floor. Lin Yu casually picked up a pill recipe, and suddenly his eyes narrowed. Although this pill recipe was only a 4th-grade pill recipe, it was not recorded in the Pill King's treasure book that he had obtained before. Lin Yu continued to pick up several pill recipes, one by one, and found that these pill recipes didn't exist in the Pill King's treasure book. Lin Yu didn't know why these pill recipes weren't recorded in the Pill King's treasure book, but this didn't hinder him from mastering these pill recipes. Expanding pill recipes was very important for every pill master, even if it was a low-level pill recipe. Don't worry, I have to memorize these pill recipes first. This is too much. Baima Yuer scanned the surroundings and felt a little anxious. The opportunity to enter the Pill King Pagoda was very precious, and she didn't want to spend it on these low-level pill recipes. However, Yuja Kitami thought that there should be enough time. The Pill King Pagoda will be open for a month, and it will take about 20 days to finish reading these pill recipes, so there is still enough time. Lin Yu smiled faintly and didn't say much. He started from the first row of bookshelves and started to read the pill recipes from the beginning. Yuja Kitami originally didn't plan to record these pill recipes, but since she was idle, she could only follow behind Lin Yu and read them. However, she quickly discovered that something was amiss. Lin Yu's speed of flipping through the pill manuals was truly too fast. Before long, he had left her behind. 10 portions. 20 portions. 100 portions. 3 days later, Lin Yu put down the last pill recipe. Alright. Yuja Kitami had already been shocked to the point of numbness. She could only stare blankly at Lin Yu, who had used only 3 days to finish reading all the pill recipes. As Lin Yu stepped into the second floor, the outside world, which had been silent for a long time, became restless again. Every time someone entered the Pill King Pagoda, a new floor would light up. Therefore, just as Lin Yu's foot reached the second floor, everyone saw a bright light appear on the second floor of the Pill King Pagoda. However, the discussions directed at Lin Yu this time were even more pessimistic than before. I thought this person was really some kind of peerless genius. I didn't expect him to spend 3 full days to reach the second floor. I was wrong before, saying that he could reach the 5th floor. Now, in my opinion, it would be difficult for him to even reach the 4th floor. Even Bei Mobing had a look of worry on his face. He wasn't worried about Lin Yu, but he was afraid that his daughter had dragged Lin Yu down on the 1st floor for so long. The second floor of the Pill King Pagoda. Pill furnaces appeared in front of the two. However, the surface of these pill furnaces was already covered in dust, and there were also some cracks. These are old pill furnaces. They're useless. Lin Yu nodded. The pill recipes on the first floor had benefited him greatly. The pill furnaces on the second floor looked like a pile of scrap metal, but they might have special uses. Just in case, Lin Yu casually collected a dozen pill furnaces and put them into his storage ring. After staying on this floor for less than 15 minutes, the two of them arrived at the 3rd floor. The moment they entered the 3rd floor, they immediately felt a cold and gloomy aura. The light on the 3rd floor was very dim, and there were also some hollow sounds mixed in. Just as Lin Yu and Bei Mobing stopped and looked deeper, a dozen blue souls gradually appeared from the shadows. Why are there so many pill furnace souls? Seeing the number of pill furnace souls, Yuja Kitami was very surprised. From the information she had obtained, there weren't so many pill furnace souls on the 3rd floor, and their strength was only at the 1st level of the myriad spirit realm. However, the pill furnace souls in front of her were emitting the aura of the peak of the myriad spirit realm. Hearing Yuja Kitami's words, Lin Yu's expression was very calm. When the pill furnace souls got close to them, they instantly sped up and attacked them. The pill furnace souls were originally blue, and in the process of charging, the color gradually deepened, and the aura condensed. Yuja Kitami's face tensed up, and she hurriedly summoned the five-colored phoenix. Just as she was about to block it, she saw Lin Yu take a step forward from the corner of her eye. Young Master Qin. Yuja Kitami was about to remind him that the pill furnace souls were soul bodies, and ordinary attacks were useless against them. She saw Lin Yu take out pill furnaces and throw them out. Lin Yu took out a total of 13 alchemy cauldrons and placed their souls under the cauldrons. Beima Yuer stared at this scene, dumbfounded. Those pill furnace souls that were rather troublesome to deal with were actually trapped by these old pill furnaces. From the outside, it could be seen that the pill furnace souls were bumping around in the pill furnaces. However, it didn't have any effect on the pill furnaces. These pill furnaces didn't even move a bit, as if they were specially set up to imprison the pill furnace souls. Young Master Qin already thought of this when he was on the second level. Yuja Kitami regained her senses and said with admiration, "Coincidence?" Lin Yu smiled faintly. In the Sky Desert universe, he had been trapped in the same day for 100,000 years, and he had encountered at least 8,000 secret realms. With these experiences, even if he left the Sky Desert universe, he would still be able to deal with any situation. Lin Yu walked past the pill furnaces. He took a total of 15 pill furnaces, and the 2 extra ones were casually thrown away. When the pill furnace souls saw the 2 of them swaggering past them, they became even angrier, and they crazily bumped into the pill furnaces. But until Lin Yu left the third level, they still didn't show any signs of escaping. Young Master Qin, the difficulty of the Pill King Pagoda has definitely increased this time. Yuja Kitami was puzzled, and she didn't know why such a situation would occur. The test of every level of the Pill King Pagoda was the same, and this was the consensus of many people who had entered the Pill King Pagoda in the past. But why would there be an abnormality this time? Lin Yu nodded, and he had some guesses in his heart. But even if there was an abnormality, it wouldn't affect him from reaching the top. He was confident. The fourth level tested one's knowledge of alchemy, which was divided into 2 aspects: alchemy and pharmacology. Alchemy was about the refining methods of various pills, the materials used, and the key points to pay attention to. As for pharmacology, it was related to herbs, the materials of pills. If one wanted to pass the test, they would need to have rich experience. Otherwise, if they didn't even see the herbs, how could they pass the test? Lin Yu and Yuja Kitami walked into the 4th level. This time, a green soul appeared, a pharmacology soul. When Lin Yu received the Pill King's inheritance, he had obtained information about pharmacology souls. Every pharmacology soul was born by gathering the essence of countless herbs. Not only did the pharmacology soul have the ability to refine pills, but it also had very high spiritual intelligence. And the pharmacology soul in front of them had existed since the Pill King Pagoda was established, and it could be considered an antique. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.